is the second one that we're actually having. First one here at our affiliate location, Ocean County College. Now, from a show of hands, how many of you know about the Small Business Development Center? I almost caught myself. Good, I'm happy to see so many hands going up. For those of you who don't know about us, we are part of a nationwide organization. We're known as America's Small Business Development Center. In New Jersey, we're considered a network. We're the New Jersey Small Business Development Center Network. Our particular center is America's Small Business Development Center at Brookdale Community College with its affiliate location here at Ocean County College. Now, what does the Small Business Development Center do? Well, our mission is pretty simple. And what we do is we try to help small businesses, entrepreneurs, either get their business started or help them continue growing their business. For us, it's all about success because your success becomes our community's success. And by that, it's economic success. So by us helping you, bringing education courses to you, webinars, seminars such as this one, we're able to provide you with some insight that can help you along your path. Well, for here it's food service. So we do treat all industries, it's not just food service. Our particular center has been around for over 39 years. We were part of the pilot program that started the SBDCs here in the state of New Jersey. Our headquarters is out of Rutgers Business School in Newark. We have 12 centers strategically located throughout the state of New Jersey, which means we cover all 21 counties. Our particular center covers Monmouth and Ocean County. Like I said, I myself, like most of you, am an entrepreneur. I've been through several business ventures. And when I moved to the state of New Jersey, I actually came to the Small Business Development Center. I wanted to find out how to run my business right, what steps can I avoid, and that's what the SBDC taught me. That was back in the late 90s. Move forward, I am now the director of the Small Business Development Center. I started as the assistant director, and I've been here 5 years as director, 9 years in total working for the SBDC. And I'm one of those individuals that I'm happy to say I love my job. Not only am I able to connect with so many individuals that are entrepreneurs and small business owners, but I get to meet distinguished individuals such as our panel that you're going to hear from today. I first want to thank them all for taking the time to come out and talk to you about the food service industry. You're going to hear from each and every one of them. For us, it's not just about education, but it's also about counseling. We realize that we need the extra help, and that's one of the things that the Small Business Development Center is known for. We are known for our no-cost confidential counseling. At no time will an SBDC ever charge you for counseling. We may have charges for some of our workshops. They're at a nominal fee. The reason we're able to do that is because of the organization, or rather the agency that funds us, which is the Small Business Administration. Please do not confuse us with SBA. We are what's considered their technical support. We are not the SBA, but they provide us a great deal of funding because they are the advocates for the small business community throughout the United States. So that being said, I always like to say we are your tax dollars at work, because who funds the agency? Your tax dollars. So when we're saying that we provide you with free counseling, think of it this way: you are entitled. You've already paid through it with your taxes. Our particular center, I have to say that we are pretty innovative, and by that I mean we try to bring you up-to-date information as to how your business can succeed. We love technology in our office. I have an awesome team, and we really focus on technology, on doing our job. We realize how technology does change all aspects of small business, and it's important for you to understand that. That being said, whenever you have a chance, visit our website. We really indulge in social media to a huge extent, and it's because it just makes it easier for us. We're able to share information with you via social media. So here, as you can see, our tag is MOSBDC, which stands for Monmouth Ocean Small Business Development Center. You can follow us, you can like us, continue receiving information, because we always end up with some great opportunities of bringing fantastic individuals in front of you to gain knowledge and grow from there. But that being said, we can't do it all ourselves. So what do? We're also seen as a connector, a resource connector. It's important for us to work with our resource partners, so this way you don't have to do the legwork. You know, I love when you call our office and you say, hey, I need help with a specific item, and I can refer you to someone. It's not referring you and letting you fall through the cracks. We actually make the connection for you. So as a connector, I have a few resource partners that I want to introduce, and they're going to come up and talk for a few minutes about the resources that are available. First, we have Don Newman, and he's with the Business Action Center, which is another one of our funders, the state of New Jersey, through the Business Action Center that was put together by Lieutenant Governor Ken Guadagno. We have Don Newman, which we have a wonderful relationship with, and he's here to talk about some of the services and who they are and what they do for the small business community and businesses as in general.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Jackie, for inviting me here. As Jackie said, I'm with the Business Action Center. Now, how many of you have heard of the Business Action Center before? Oh, I see a hand. That's good. It's getting better. Now it's two people that know who we are. But we've been around for several years, and since the start of the Christie administration. And we are the economic development team for the state. So I'm here as part of a partnership, which I'll discuss. But I'm here on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor to welcome you to the Small Business Development Center. As Jackie said, we are a funding partner. We're a big supporter of the Small Business Development Center network. I was sitting in the Raritan Valley office of the Small Business Development Center just last week. I'll be going to others later in the week. Welcome to Small Business Week. This is National Small Business Week, which is my silly season because I'll be traveling all over the state over the next week and a half or so, going to various events like this. So what do we do? Well, on one side, you have the the Business Action Center that does things like offer incentives, sell the incentives that are available through part of our partnership to attract businesses to New Jersey. So when you hear about Amazon coming or some other big company coming to New Jersey, we probably had a hand in that. That's the kind of the stuff that you see in the paper. What you don't see in the paper is the stuff that I do. I'm the director of small business advocacy. So I help small businesses access resources. In some cases, that's counseling and mentoring and technical assistance through the Small Business Development Center network. Again, since we're a funding partner of theirs, we're great supporters of theirs. But it could also be finding funding. It could be advocacy work. You have an issue with the local, an issue with the DOT on a state highway, or the EPA, or maybe the Department of Health is giving you a hard time. You can give us a call, and we can intercede on your behalf and see if there's a way that we can provide you with some assistance. Now, I can't change your regulation. I can't force a local official like the Department of Health to do something, but I can kind of be a middleman to make sure that you are getting the information that you need to be in compliance with the regulations and statutes, and the Department of Health or the DOT or whoever the agency is not, we take that adversarial relationship out, and we try to be the friendly face to both sides to try to help you. We have great success with that. We also have some other programs if you wanted to get into government procurement. Again, we rely heavily on the Small Business Development Center for those programs, but we also provide you with some assistance, some guidance. You want to sell food service to a local state institution, there might be something there for you. Or if you are looking to get into exporting. So if you're a food manufacturer and you have some product that you would like to export, for example, we've done some great work with the wineries on exporting. We've done some great work with the hot sauce company on exporting. So there are some, we have some success stories when it comes to food service for exporting. I happen to like this particular idea for an event because, you probably can't tell by the look at me, but I do enjoy a good meal once in a while. So I do, I like the idea that we're also supporting this industry, especially down here with the tourism industry and how important food service can become as a support for the tourism industry, which also, by the way, falls under the Lieutenant Governor's travel and tourism So, I mentioned the Partnership for Action, just kind of so you know, I work together as a part of a four-group partnership. That's with the Economic Development Authority. They're the bank for business. They're the guys that do some of the financing, although they're not always the best choice, and I will connect you to the best choice if we were to talk. The Choose New Jersey, which is a marketing firm that markets New Jersey as a great place to do business. The Department of Higher Education, because that's an important component to economic development, is higher education. And then the Business Action Center. We're all led by the Lieutenant Governor. The Business Action Center, we work for the Lieutenant Governor directly. But that's kind of the overview of how we work as part of a team for the state to do economic development. And then, like I said, my specific role is to do small business, to work with small businesses. So I'm the guy that you want to talk to when you have any kind of an issue, even if you just want to bounce an idea off of me, and I can try to direct you to where you need to be. So welcome again. Thank you again for Jackie. Welcome on behalf of the Lieutenant Governor, and welcome to National Small Business Week. And good luck to you.
Thank you, Don. And I thank Don for reminding me it is Small Business Week. Completely forgot, but Small Business Week is with the Small Business Administration, and they are celebrating small businesses this week. With that, I do want to introduce our next resource partner, which is actually part of our affiliate location here at at OCC. And what that means is, before I let you go on, Mike, what that means is that not only do we hold classes here at OCC like we do at Brookdale Community College, but we also have an office here, a physical presence here, where we hold counseling sessions here. So if you're coming from Ocean, and I'm talking like LBI and out that way, know that you don't have to travel all the way up to Brookdale Community College in Monmouth County to receive our services. Now you can receive them here on campus at OCC. With that, I give you Michael Priscilla.
Thank you, and welcome to Ocean County College and to our Gateway building, which is a partnership with Keen Ocean. We share this building together. My name is Michael Porcella. I am the Manager of Business Engagement for Ocean County College. My responsibility is to work with employers to provide training for their employees. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we do a lot of these type of events, and we hear all about how to go into business, how to be an entrepreneur, how to get help. The one thing we don't hear a lot about is the people that you need to make your businesses a success. What we do is provide training, and that training comes in all sorts of forms and titles, from computer training to management style training to customer service. Right now, customer service is on an upswing. It is a hot trend. One of the programs that we have, which should be especially interesting for you, is something we call dining room service. We call it the savvy service, how to wait on tables. Interesting, because very few small business owners think of the front of the house for that type of training and to continue that type of training. The training that we provide through continuing professional education here is through the New Jersey Business and Industry Association. The training is grant funded, tuition free in most cases. What that means is we train your employees at no charge. What's also interesting is that any company can take advantage of up to $50,000 worth of training in each year. Ladies and gentlemen. Let us help you. We'd be happy to do that. Please take advantage of the Savvy Server. We have retail customer service programs. We have how to answer the telephone. Had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Leone this morning. I told him about this, and he said, when are we getting together? And I look forward. Now, this is the man that does his own training. So, thank you, sir. I look forward to being of service to you especially. Thank you all. Welcome to Ocean County College.
Thank you. Now, one of the things that Don Newman did touch on that I don't want to neglect and leave out is regarding special services that are available through our Small Business Development Center network. And those services, if you're interested in doing business with the government, is called procurement. We actually have a specialty office that helps with that. We have one that deals with technology and commercialization, and they're specifically trained to help any individual interested in going into that field. We also have international trade. creating any food item and you want to sell it outside of the United States, even if it's to Canada, it's international trade. So we have a specialty department that deals with that. And then we also have one that deals specifically with the business. All those specialty departments do come out of our headquarters up in Newark, but we utilize technology to our fullest ability, which means you don't have to go there. You can actually Skype with them, FaceTime with them, whatever you're comfortable with. You can definitely do that and not worry about having to go up north to receive those services. So with that being said, I want to get started. First of all, a round of applause to our panel. You will hear from each one of them individually. I'm extremely grateful, as well as my team is, for having them agree to come out and speak to you. You will have an opportunity for questions at the end. I will try to keep it going, so not everyone will have to answer all the questions on the panel. As you can see, we have 7 people on our panel, which is a pretty large panel for us. So we are gonna start, and all the way at the end with Jason. It has to be one or the other, Jason. So if you could do me the favor, introduce yourself, who you're with, and we could come all the way on down, that'll be fantastic.
Okay. You could have started on the other side with the guy from the health department.
I'm leaving him for the end.
Thank you for having me. My name's Jason Crispin. I'm here representing the Ocean County Vocational School, in particular our post-secondary culinary arts program. Through a partnership with the Ocean County Parks and Recreation Department and the Ocean County Freeholders, we operate a full-time program for adult students who want to be trained in the culinary arts. Interesting part about our program is that we operate a restaurant 7 days a week that mirrors an actual restaurant, not a restaurant at a learning institution that operates during a few days a week, normal school hours. We are open 7 days a week. We are open Easter. We are open New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, you name it, we're serving it. So it gives our students an exciting opportunity to really work hands-on, not just hands-on in a school sense, but hands-on in a working restaurant. Our students intern and kind of do a small rotation both in the front of the house and the back of the house to really immerse themselves in how a restaurant works. It's a 10-month program, it's very intense, but it really trains a person who wants to be job ready in just a short amount of time. A little bit about myself, I'm a graduate of the Ocean County Vocational School, so I actually get to teach the program I was once a student at. So just like most of the members on this panel here, I have yet to work a day in my life. I've been with the district 10 years. Periodically, because I do teach, I'd like to stay on the forefront of what's going on in the industry, so I do still attend classes at the Restaurant School of Philadelphia to kind of stay up on trends. So thank you guys for having me here.
Thank you, Jason.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sho Islam. I'm coming from the Rutgers Food Innovation Center. We're actually located in Bridgeton, New Jersey, which, if you're not familiar, it's a long ride from here. We deal with processed food industry, so we don't really get involved with retail, food service, fresh, direct-to-consumer. But if you do want to make a product that's bottled, that's frozen, like a meal, entree, whether it's USDA and FDA, we could help you launch that business. So that's kind of one of our specialty. We're very unique in the country. There's no other center like us where under one roof you could get the business, the marketing, the R&D, product development, food safety, regulatory, and then have an actual manufacturing plant that's been approved by USDA and FDA to produce goods for sale throughout the country. So if you need anything of that sort, you'll have my information later on. Feel free to contact me, and the center will try to assist you. We do have a center in Bridgeton, as I mentioned. We also have sister center in Piscataway, and then one in New Brunswick. So we're looking to offer services throughout the state, and we do service all 21 counties in New Jersey. My background, I have a master's degree in food economics. I'm an economist, but I know a little bit about food safety and everything else just through osmosis and being there almost 11 years, I think. So with that, I'll pass it on to Joe.
I'm John Yarusi. I own a food truck, a couple of them now. I'm from Monmouth County. I did this last summer. It was really enjoyable. I'm happy to say there was one guy, I think, that was there, now has a food truck, so maybe one of you out here wants to start a food truck. If you do, I think you're crazy, but I'll gladly tell you all you need to know about food trucks. Johnny's Pork Roll is really built around a very simple idea of delivering pork roll sandwiches to people in New Jersey and people not from New Jersey. I think what's led to our success and helped us sort of accelerate as quickly as we have, my background is advertising and branding. I spent most of my life in New York doing that for other companies, be it airlines, cars, and food predominantly. But I understood, as a lot of you may understand, that pork roll in New Jersey for a food has a deep, deep, deep affinity, whether you eat it or not, like it or love it. It's something we all grew up with. So we've been very successful, I guess, at tapping into that fundamental. Because to me, eating and food and all the things we're talking about, we all do it. I don't care what your gender preference is. I don't care what your religion is. We all eat. And food trucks, in a way, have become a unique way to really connect people back to food. And we've sort of been successful, I think, in bridging that to some degree. And again, selling pork roll, which is all we sell, we've tapped into that and been very successful in getting people to sort of embrace us and fall in love with us. And I'm happy to tell you anything you want to know about food trucks because, again, they're unique little small businesses, very similar but very different than a lot of the other ones. So I'm really stoked to be here to enlighten anybody that wants to get into the food truck game.
So, how are y'all doing today? I'm John Lawson. I'm Northeast Regional Buyer with Whole Foods Market. We have 38 stores in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. My job is center store grocery, so I deal with packaged dairy, frozen, and bulk. And what I do is work with brands to help them bring products into our stores and get them on our shelves, which, contrary to a lot of thinking, is the first step, not the last step in the process in terms of working with us. So a little bit about me. I've worked with Whole Foods for 13 years in New York, Chicago, and now New Jersey. Our office is out of Englewood, New Jersey. And I'm very focused on sustainability, ethical sourcing, transparency, and definitely partnering with small brands to help figure out the steps that you need to grow your brand on our shelves, and hopefully for you beyond Whole Foods Market as well. So that's a little bit about me.
My name is Joe Leone. I own a company called Joe Leone's in Point Pleasant Beach, New Jersey here. I am an owner-operator. We make foods from homemade bread, pastries, cookies, prepared foods, all done by the pound. We also have deep roots in our American Italian heritage, mainly focus on American Italian cuisine. Also, we have retail products, so we're also known for our sandwiches, known for our fresh mozzarella. A little bit about me. I come from the School of Hard Knocks. I worked since I'm very young. I truly am very blessed and fortunate to be here today. I'm very proud to say that I live the American dream every day of my life. Started my business, humble beginnings. You'll learn a little bit about me through the conversations. I surround myself with incredible people. I know that I'm up here, but I represent 170 team members that are working right now at Joe Leone's that work really hard and give dedication to our customer service and our quality. We strive for excellence, and I'm really happy to be here, and I hope to share as much as I possibly can.
My name's Mark Cohen. I own a restaurant called The Chicken or the Egg in Long Beach Island, specifically Beach Haven, the Queen City, as they like to call it, I think. We've been in business since 1991. I started the business with my brother. I was 20 at the time. Kind of started on a lark, almost like a joke, and it turned into something that's been a part of my life ever since, a big part of my life. I've developed friendships through this business, people that I like to call family, and some of them are here today, which I'm really happy about. Our business has always been predicated upon giving people a good value, good quality for a fair price. I think that's been the basis of what we've been about since day one. It continues today, and I think some of the things that I'd like to impart to the crowd today are to make a name for yourself for something. For us, at some point or another, we became famous, if you will, for chicken wings, and we built everything around that. So we have these sauces, these 18 sauces that we have, and it's everywhere in our menu. And it's sort of like a separate branding. So our name is out there, but the sauces are what make us unique. So if I would say that there's something that you want to do, find that thing and then hit it hard, you know. So anyway, that's me.
Good morning, I'm Matt Cheek from the Ocean County Health Department, the big bad local health department. Thanks, Don. No, I'm just kidding. A little bit of my background, actually, I took quite a circuitous route to get where I'm at. I studied biology as an undergrad and have a master's in biomedical science, so I can tell you a lot about the bugs in the food, and I actually had to learn all the regulations and kind of take a step back on the job. I've been with the health department for 12 years. I did get an REHS license. That's like your food inspectors. They do other things too. And a New Jersey health officer's license too, so when sick people are excluded from work, unfortunately, that's me too. You know, a lot is, it's a very interesting time to be here today. From my perspective, every day government agencies are kind of doing more with less, which is not a bad thing. To streamline and become more efficient is very important. A glimpse at Ocean County Health Department by the numbers, just on food alone. I have approximately 7 full-time inspectors. I say approximately because supervisors have licenses and can do some work too, to do over 3,000 foods. So that's, you do the math, we're racing. I tell my inspectors every year, you know, we're a coastal county, so we have a lot of seasonal foods. Think of all your boardwalks. You could plan every day from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and you will not execute that plan one time, not once. And you will get called on Saturday, and you will get called on Sunday, and it does happen. Like I said, there's a lot going on. I think you'll find out more about me and our agency as we go through the conversation today, but I do want to say that my philosophy in running the environmental department and the communicable disease, who we hope we don't ever involve in the environmental department, is to kind of highlight that customer service side of things. We've had a lot of staff turnover over years, and I think that one of the most important things that we can do is to kind of shake off that big bad health department reputation or mindset and get down a little bit more to serving the regulated community. It should feel like a partnership. It shouldn't feel like you're getting your car inspected. You know, there's a lot more that goes on. I think our staff are becoming even better every day at educating the regulated community, not in a condescending way, but in a very kind of a way of promoting the issues and ideas that we think are most important and that really impact people and their health. So that's kind of my philosophy, and I think we'll get into more of the nuts and bolts as we go.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you, guys. Now, we are going to get started where we really want to hear, starting with those that are really deep into the food service industry, meaning the restaurateurs, those that produce or manufacture some type of food. And with that, if you could share with us a little bit more about what got you started in the food service industry. I did hear a few of you started in your early 20s. What drove you to that? You know, what made you start with the food service industry? And then also in terms of, since you've been at it for a while, the trends. How are the trends impacting your business? And we'll start with Mark.
Sure. I got started by accident. Can you hear me okay with that? Yeah. So I worked in a restaurant in 1990, I guess at the age of, I just turned 19. And I really enjoyed it. And I'd already had a couple jobs in the restaurant industry. I worked in a pizza place. I was a busboy, ice cream scooper, whatever. I started working when I was 14, I think. And I always liked that environment, the food environment. And so after the summer of 1990, I thought I was going to get a job, a promotion to a nightclub bartender where the big money was at. And I got the impression after my interview that I wasn't going to get that promotion. So I said, the hell with it, I'm going to start my own thing. And literally, myself, my brother, a group of friends, we were sitting around, and we're hungry for chicken wings. And there was no place to go on Long Beach Island to get chicken wings. We said, we should just do this ourselves. And I had no prospects. My summer job looked like it was down the toilet. So we literally got up the next morning and drove around, looked for spots, and voila, you know, a couple $1,000, literally $3,000 later, between the three of us, who at the time I had a third partner, we found a spot. We opened up Memorial Day weekend. We got our asses handed to us. We learned a lot, and 26, 7 years later, it's blossomed into a real business. When it started out, it was kind of a joke. We didn't think it was really going to do anything beyond that first summer, just something to do, like a summer job. But it's become my livelihood, my life, and my passion.
Thank you. Joe, can you share with us?
Sure.
Similar, very similar. Opened my business. I was 21 years old. When I got into I come from a background of not having much. And one of the things I realized when I left home was, survival. Didn't really have anything, graduated high school. But when I got to 21 years old, I also been baking all through my teens, baking bread. And what I realized was, the food service industry, you never freeze or you never starve. That's, you're in front of heat all the time in the coldest months. And you got food in front of your face always. And one of the other things is basically it's a guarantee. I always look at it this way, and I say this to everybody that comes in the food service industry. Everyone needs food to eat, okay? Like you said, okay? Everyone gets sick, so doctors and nurses and medical, okay? And a funeral director, everyone dies. So it's pretty much a guaranteed job, because if you can cook, you could survive anywhere in the world. I opened up in 1997, had no clue what I was doing. Absolutely no clue what I was doing. I knew how to make bread. I had a mixer, a bread bench, an oven, a cash box, 40 accounts with a lot of money on the street, and thank God that I'm able to collect money and get paid from all the vendors that we started our business out of. And it's just, if those of you that know Joe Leone's, okay, our guests that come into our store basically told me and our team what they wanted. Okay, so we started out with bread. So like I said, back door, we're selling breads to restaurants all around. Okay, I had about 40, 50 accounts. Then I put a rack in the front of the store. We started selling homemade bread. Okay, people were coming in buying bread, and they say, well, you make sandwiches. Okay, so then I got a slicer. Then I started doing cold cuts. Then I, started making sandwiches. Then I started making meatballs, sausage and peppers. Then I started making fresh mozzarella. My uncle taught me how. We're from Hoboken, make fresh mozzarella. And started giving them kind of what they wanted. So basically, two things built Joe Leone's. A, the guests told us what they wanted. And B, surrounded myself with incredible people and not being afraid to surround myself with people that are better than me in certain areas. And it just grew. I share this because I assume a lot of you are getting into starting a business. Every day of my life, anytime, whatever amount of money I have on me, okay, opened up with basically nothing, okay, I have my money and I have the American flag. And I look at that as a reminder of this country, you can do anything you possibly want to. You just have to go get it. And I'm fortunate to say 20 years, June 2nd, we'll be in business. Was the first day that I pressed that mixer button. And I'm looking forward to doing it for another 20 years or beyond that. So that's basically, in a nutshell, because there's so many of us to talk about how we started. But I took the American dream, I worked, and surrounded myself with good people.
Thank you.
Johnny Parkrow.
Oh, you want me to?
Yeah.
I think everybody, I keep hearing the same thing again, 20 years old, look for a spot, $3,000, threw it into the wind, it worked. Same thing, hunger, determination, threw it to the wind. I was a partner in that agency that imploded, completely went bust. Chase Bank still wants my head on a pike. I mean, things got ugly for me. I mean, my life imploded. And those of you from around here remember Hurricane Sandy. And that came rolling through and trashed everything. And then my dad died. And then, not to sound like I'm complaining or I'm a victim, then my wife didn't want to be married anymore. So everything just imploded. And I had these little twin girls. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I couldn't find a job back in New York. I was either too senior and a threat to some guy at 30 at that point, or he's not going to be happy doing this at his age and what he knows. So I didn't know what to do. And when I was working creatively, I really was very fortunate. I worked with a lot of great, I guess, entrepreneur types. I worked with David Neelam, who started JetBlue. Crazy, eccentric, ADD, Mormon, nuts. But the guy had succeeded, failed, succeeded. I don't know if anybody knows about his story, the guy that started JetBlue. He had started a low-fare airline in Utah called Morris Air, just flying around Utah doing these little short routes. Well, Southwest wanted into the market. What did they do? They bought his airline. He got a seat on the board, was fired within 6 months because he said too much, he was too scattered, he was too all over the place. So then the guy dusted himself off. He invented an e-ticketing system on the back of Christian Mormon children who don't drink and smoke and get up every morning and work very diligently. So when he got that business to a success, he sold that again. So then he got itchy to do something else, and that's when he started JetBlue, and that's kind of when I got to know him. And I'm not like I got his number on my phone, hey David, how's it going? You know, what are you doing? But I worked very closely with him, and if there's one thing I took from working with him at that point, he believed in brand, he believed in looking at markets and saying what's being underserved. He said, hey, we couldn't get chicken wings anywhere. I knew I'd like to make bread. There was a way to make money doing that. Whatever you guys, all of you collectively are thinking about entering this space, you can't be afraid to fail. Everybody fails. Business is hard as it is. That's why I love hearing the health department say, we're here to help you, then help us. We have too much regulation on us as small businesses. I fought this tooth and nail. That's why I'm happy to tell every one of you what I've learned, the mistakes I've made, don't do this, do that. I would give you this advice, I'd rather beg for forgiveness than ask permission. I've done that. I've done that from day one. I know every fireman, I know all 9 health departments in Monmouth County and 1 in Ocean County. You really, when you start a business, especially like me, a mobile food business, which food businesses are risky, business is risky. A mobile one is like doubly risky. If it wasn't for having a lot of good friends to help me along the way, I don't think I would have gotten here. And I mean that sincerely. So if you went to the prom with a guy who was a mechanic, but you lost touch with him and you want to start a food truck, find him on Facebook, just slowly ask him how he's doing. I'm serious. If you got a friend who's got an underused parking lot on the highway, call him up. Hey, what are you doing with that parking lot? Can I run a food truck there? You kind of got to rely on a lot of people to get there. And when my life imploded, I'm like, what am I going to do? And I'll tell you one quick story, and it's funny, because I've adored pork roll my whole life. Some kid did a documentary film about me and pork roll. It's gotten weird how big pork roll in a way has become. We know this, but I'm saying outside of New Jersey, within food heads. Like Anthony Bourdain came to Asbury Park. All these fancy-ass restaurants. I said in this documentary, people making their own goat cheese, charcuterie. I'm doing all this fancy crap, growing my own vegetables, duck poop on this. I'm like, it's great, and people will pay for it, and I love the passion. That John Taylor, in a way, was a little passionate food creator at 20 and created this stuff that's around 165 years later. Just to put pork roll in context, and I'm not trying to be funny or anything else. Maybe I'm trying to be funny, but most of you women couldn't vote, but pork roll was in New Jersey. Slavery was still legal, but pork roll was in New Jersey. Lincoln hadn't been shot yet, but pork roll was in New Jersey. You know, America was just getting going, and this guy at 20 years old develops this little product called pork roll. And people in New Jersey fall in love with it. It really was like a poor man's ham steak. You know what I mean? He tried to replicate something he heard rumors about from the Revolutionary War, the Battle of Trenton, that the soldiers were given this crude pork in a little sack, cured, that they could cut and eat when they were fighting against the British. So he tries to replicate this product. For 40 years, it does well. Well, in 1906, we'll pretend Ocean County Health Department is this department, but the U.S. government says, you know, we're going to pass this Pure and Food Drug Act of 1906. The government needs to be involved with food safety regulations in processed food. So the government goes to 1 John Taylor of Trenton, New Jersey. Look, Mr. Taylor, it's a great product you have here, but you can't call it ham. I mean, ham's a cut from a pig. It's got a bone in it. It says quarter hind. This is chopped up pork, reconstituted and seasoned to taste like ham. You've succeeded, but we really think it should be called pork roll. So the government, even at that point, 116 years ago, was getting their hand involved with processed food, what it should be called. Even to put it in a modern context, and I think Whole Foods was the ones that were involved in this, these vegan mayonnaise, right? Oh, I'm vegan, I have vegan mayonnaise. That's great. The government, again, 2 years ago said, I'm sorry, you can't call it mayonnaise. Mayonnaise has egg in it by nature. We love that you've replicated it without egg, but it's not mayonnaise, it's misleading to consumers. I quite frankly could care whether you call it vegan mayonnaise or mayonnaise, but this is how regulation can play a role in what you're trying to create and what you're trying to do. So my life implodes, I don't know what to do, I adore pork roll, I even tried to get them as a client. I called them up and I'm like, look, I'm really good at this stuff. I mean, I'm like really good at branding, e-commerce, social media. You have a cult product, you should be selling this online, it's gotta be $3 million a year, do you like that? No interest. They used to send me to a voicemail box, this went on for a month. I would call there was no automated, hello, thank you for calling Taylor, if you know your party's extension. It wasn't even that, there would be this gruff guy with my kind of voice, say, Taylor Provisions, and I would say, do you have a strategy officer? Do you have a CMO? Do you have somebody in business development? Hold on. And he would send me to this voicemail box. I kid you not, it would just go beep. And I would leave this message. Hi, I'm John. I'm calling from Malden, New York. I do a lot of work in the food space, grass-fed meats, blah, blah, blah. Nobody would ever call me back. A month later, I called the guy back. I go, hey, it's me again. And he knew, because he would see 212. He knew I was calling from New York. I said, look, let's save ourselves a little time and aggravation here before you send me into this vacuous black box. You don't want to do anything, do you? And the guy clearly goes, no, we really don't. And I'm like, all right, thanks. So I'm like, here's pork roll. I thought it would save my agency. Chase, hold on. I'm going to get pork roll. Everything's going to work out here. Didn't happen. So the agency dies. I'm sitting there. I don't know what to do. And I came back to pork roll again. I said, damn it, people love this shit. Anytime I put it on my Facebook page, I could put 100 pictures up of a cute dog or a kid. Oh, I like that, I like that. Pork roll, it went nuts. And then it would get sent all over the internet. So I'm like, I come at advertising. This is like A/B split data in my own little pool. I'm like, there's something to this. So I go to my friend who owned a little Mexican restaurant in Red Bank, because I knew I'd have a kitchen. I said, I got this idea for a food truck. Yeah, what do you want to do? I said, we're just going to do pork roll. That's it? And I said, yeah, we're just going to do the best pork roll and egg cheese sandwich. Back to what these guys said. Do one thing and do it freaking well. McDonald's built a $62 billion business because they made a hamburger. And if you haven't gone to see that movie Kroc, did anybody see that movie about Ray Kroc? Go see it. He's a little bit of a prick, he's got an attitude, but you know, to survive, it's a very difficult business. It almost makes you that way, and I want to be holier than thou and nice. But, so I said, I got this idea, I want to do this pork roll truck. He said, I think you got a good idea. We each put in $5K and off we went. Like the 3,000 only was a little later, probably would have been 10 today if he was doing it. But we started this venture doing this pork roll truck. And the first person we went to, I'm happy to report, the health department. That was the first person I met with. She was a girl, she's kind of cute. Go, hey, you want to go out for a drink? Sure, we go out. You know what I mean? I'm dead serious. We meet it downtown in Red Bank. I said, look, we want to start this food truck. What do we need to have? I mean, obviously I understand 3 base things, hand washing. I said, what do we need to have? She said, look, that's really what we're looking for, refrigeration and stuff. I said, great. And we went out, we bought a truck under the Driscoll Bridge that was just sitting there. Didn't even have a for sale sign in. Sure, if you want a food truck, they're always lying around. Bought the truck, built it, and started that spring with it. Because after post-Sandy, the town I'm from, Monmouth Beach, the snack bar was wiped out. They couldn't get anything going. So the mayor said, oh, we're going to bid out a spot for a food truck. I know you just built one. I said, yeah, I did. Well, look for the ad in the paper. Well, the ad comes out $10,000. I go to the mayor, I go, hey. I didn't even put this much money to start this thing. Now you want me to give you $10,000 thinking I'm going to make money up here. So I go to see her a week later. I apologize, say, look, we're just not funded to do that. Okay, well, we didn't get any responses. We're going to lower the bid. Look for it next week in the paper. Go back, $5,000. I go, look, I'm trying to tell you, I started the whole thing for what you want me to pay you to do this. Like, I'm rolling the dice here. What risk are you taking other than you go, hey, look what a great job I'm doing. I'm the mayor. So I said, look, Mayor, with all offense, I can't do it. Memorial Day weekend, the city administrator walks into the coffee shop I'm working at 45 making lattes for yoga moms. Like, and he walks in, I swear to God, he walks in, he goes, John, can you help me? It'll cost you this. And he makes the zero. So I try to play like my old ad age says, let me talk to my partners, I'll get back to you. And right away, I'm like, yes. You know what I mean? Like, we're in there. So I was very, very lucky, blessed, fortunate. I don't know if we create the luck, good attitude, whatever. They came to me, they let me run that truck there before we branded it as the pork roll truck. And I was fortunate. It gave me 3 months of getting my ass handed to me every day to learn how to run a food truck. But I didn't have to move it. So I really only learned half of the game. In the fall, then I had to start to move it and do the same thing. That's when a food truck can really become very challenging. And I'm happy to tell you more, but that's exactly how it started for me. And so, you know, we're going to be on QVC next Sunday. Can't believe it. I'm going to be in Food and Wine in June. Yeah, me, the pork roll guy. It's like, is the girl from Jersey Bites here? There she is, Jersey Bites. She's writing something about it. It's just weird. I feel so, I swear it's just a pork roll factor. I think pork roll, not to harp on it, it's just a unique food. And what you're about to enter, I don't care what you're making, there's an affinity and an emotional attachment to food. So think branding, food, and all that. If you put them together and you want to work your ass off, I honestly believe you won't fail. I really do. And I think I picked up on what you said. You gotta go at it. And you gotta believe in it.
I just want to say for the record, I'm from Hudson County and we call it Taylor ham.
That's right. I don't yell anymore. Tell me.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you guys for sharing.
Yeah.
That was excellent.
Okay, moving forward though, one of the things that each one of you, there was a starting point for each and every one of you in terms, and this goes more to our resource guys, when someone is starting a food service, whether it's a restaurant or manufacturing some type of food, what do you recommend? What's the first step? I know with Joan Leone, based on what I read about you, you actually went to the Culinary,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So Jason, with Culinary, if someone is interested in food service, what do you recommend for them? What's their starting point?
I would recommend first, besides a background in food, I mean, it's really important to know what you're working on. One of the things we stress at the vocational school is a business education as well. So what I would recommend is that work closely with organizations like SCORE and the Small Business Development Center to develop a plan. Have an idea of what you want to be, what you're good at. Second would be to have some kind of education in how it's prepared. And then third, believe it or not, I would tell you to shoot down to the Department of Health. Because believe it or not, and I'm probably going to be the only advocate for the Department of Health here. The Department of Health really truly does want you guys to succeed, especially when you're starting a business. When we were putting our program together, we took a vacant, empty building that was sitting on a golf course, broke it down to its bare walls, and we did it with the Department of Health, exactly where they wanted things, what they needed from us, and how we should best proceed. So those would be my 3 recommendations. Number 1, have a little bit of an education in knowing what you're producing. Number 2, the business side of it, because food doesn't change that much. It hasn't changed since Carême. A little bit in trends. I mean, we talk about microbrews and small batch cooking and gastronomy, but stocks and soups and sautéing and stir frying hasn't changed in a few hundred years. But business is constantly changing. Social media was not a part of business 10 or 15 years ago. So that's a low-cost way of advertising your business. So I would tell you business education is almost as important as a food education.
Thank you. Show, how would, in
Yeah, I
terms
would
of
agree with
manufacturing?
a lot of what Jason said. Do your homework, understand who your target market is. Now, the area that we deal with, specialty processed goods, it's a lot different game than retail and direct to consumer. So you're not regulated by your local health official. It's the feds that are kicking in the door most of the time. Whether if it's USDA, anything over 3%, you have to follow their guidelines, and specialized processing have different requirements. So definitely understand who your consumers are with the help of SBDC, SCORE, and other entities. But afterwards, feel free to give us a call. We'll guide you through the doors, because even something as similar as tomato sauce or tomato gravy versus hot sauce, they each get classified differently, which means the way you process it is different. The facility where you can make it is different, whether it's LACF or low acid canning food, or if it's acid food like tomato, which is naturally acidic, you're under less of a stringent regulations. If it's bread, bakery item, you're under even less. But the extreme side of it is USDA manufacturing. That's when it gets really complicated and gets expensive. So, but you got to start off with knowing who you're going to sell it to, who your market is. Is it the whole food consumers? Is it the regular ShopRite consumers? Because other than that, it's going to be tricky down the road.
Thank you. And John Lawson from Whole Foods.
Yeah, so I would definitely tack on to what these guys have said. Having a business plan is really important. You do have to remember that you're putting out a food, but you're also starting a business. So it's important to sort of structurally define what you're seeking to achieve. I would also say focus is really important to what these guys have said. Like with pork roll, like focus on the one thing and do it well. A lot of people start a business and then they say, I want to do these 50 things, and you lose focus on the core, and unless you build your core, which is your initial product, you'll lose sight of your whole product line. So supply chain is really important. I think defining your customer is hugely important, whether it's a Whole Foods customer, a natural customer, or whether it's a conventional customer. Making sure that you get your ingredient deck right for a packaged good. Very important to make sure you have the correct ingredients if you're going to present it to a Whole Foods, and that you're not including ingredients that are on the list of ingredients that we don't accept. Also, when you do your packaging and labeling, you want to think about things like what can you say, what can't you say. There's a lot of regulation around claims. You've got to be very careful about heart healthy and claims like that. People always want to put all natural on products that were presented. There's no certifying agency for all natural, so I always advise people to take it off. If your company gets big, God willing, you potentially are opening yourself up for litigation. In my mind, there's a class of lawyers out there that's specifically targeting successful companies that make claims that they can't back up, and all natural is first among them. Nothing artificial is another one. You really want to make only claims that can be backed up by third-party certifying agencies. Really working with like Rutgers or Cornell or any of the government-provided support resources, really important. So many people out there who, just like this organization that we're here today, that want to help. Make sure that you accept that help. You need to be a spirit of cooperation in terms of the food scientists, the retailer, the customer. I can't overemphasize how important it is to make sure that if you're going to put something out there, make sure that you're getting it right and that you're not over-investing in something that you haven't gotten a proof of concept on. Too many times we'll get something where, oh, we've already made the label and we've already printed a million labels. Oh, well, you misspelled this, or you made that claim or whatever, and it can be really damaging because you're sitting on packaging, a huge expense that you have no outlet for. So really important to partner with as many people and run those ideas past people, and then just to tack on to customer service, I was really interested to hear customer service is a new trend. The whole Danny Meyer philosophy and focus on the customer. I mean, it's something that we're always striving to do better on at Whole Foods, and I think as a business, as a buyer on my side, I like to work with small business, big business, whoever I'm working with in terms of their food product. I want to give good customer service on the buyer side. As a supplier, you want to make sure that you're connecting with your customers, whether it's through social media, in-store events, whether you're working through a restaurant. You want to make sure that you're engaging your customers, and that's all part of I think the customer service, hospitality approach. So that's a few starting points, and certainly I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions later.
All right, thank you. Yes, class. Matt.
All right.
Boy, do we have questions for you.
Right?
No,
So one of the things that I know we have a great deal of clients that are coming in because they want to prepare food at home, but I'm going to let you walk away with,
Sure.
talk about that one. There's the cottage food production here in the state of New Jersey, where that's going. So again, where do they start when it comes to the county health department at OCC? What are the steps that they should take? And I would like you to address a little bit about the cottage food production.
Sure.
And how that applies in New Jersey.
Okay, so, and it's an interesting time, it's a perfect time to ask this question because things are probably going to change substantially very soon. So, under the current regulations, you really can't prepare food at home for sale in the state of New Jersey. It has to be prepared in an inspected kitchen. I think, I was talking with Joe earlier, and we have some nightmare situations that I wish we would get more clarity and consistency across the state. I can only speak to the 27 municipalities that are under our administration, which is Ocean County minus Long Beach Island. And we do, there's 90 health departments in the state of New Jersey. right? And each one might have their own policies and things like that. Many up north only cover 1 town, 2 towns, 3 towns. Down in the south, we get more county coverage, or many municipalities. So we came across a situation in our office last week where we have a vendor who has a food truck who wants to vend at Ocean County events. We have no problem with that. Whenever you come in from out of state and they have a commissary, out of our county, and they have a commissary in another county, we honor that local inspection. We might ask you to fax a copy of this, the satisfactory placard or the report or whatever. But when we inspect you at an event, we're just looking for substantial compliance with 824, NJAC 824. Write that down because that's an important Google. Oh yeah, sure. NJAC 8:24 is the New Jersey Administrative Code, Title 8, Chapter 24. When you come out for an event, we just want to see that you have a way of using a bathroom facility, washing your hands, holding things at correct temperatures, okay? We're not dissecting how you store everything, what's being prepared where, and all that kind of stuff. We kind of let the local annual inspection kind of try to cover that, and we respect that from out of. Now, some other health departments, unfortunately, will not inspect people at their commissary when they don't plan to vend within their jurisdiction, and that's a problem, right? So now we got somebody who I really kind of have to say, we're not your problem, we're not your stumbling block. You can come find a commissary in our county, we'd be happy to inspect you, that kind of thing. So those situations are out there, and we hope that, the state will kind of get together, get some guidance together for some of these other municipalities. But, if you come up against a situation like that, call me. I know a lot of the health officers around the state, we can be kind of advocates for you. And that's another thing, as you're getting started, we're almost like spies in the industry, if you want to know the truth. We're not going to tell you who did what, but if you have a situation where you're laying out a kitchen and you just can't find a place to put that hand wash sink or something, rely on us. We've seen it done 1,000 times, 3,000 times, honestly, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but we can kind of guide you. We kind of provide you a little bit of industry knowledge from the regulatory side, right? So that kind of can alleviate some of your problems. Now, what I do also have is a copy of Assembly substituted bill. It substitutes numbers 36, well, anyway, we're not going to go through all the numbers, but this bill right now has made it through the Assembly. It's in the Senate, and it seems to me like it's going to pass and probably be signed into law before the end of the Christie administration, and that is it has an allowance now for home bakers. Okay, there will be labeling requirements with that. Also the cottage food thing. I do want to say one important thing. The way this was not introduced in this form, it was substituted by committee. So that means that the committee added the cottage food portion. The important thing to remember, this is great for people. There are limits. $50,000 annually is the max. It's not allowed to be sold on the internet as the bill's written. Of course, these things can change as they get implemented. The state is scrambling. They have no idea what to do with them, but if it comes down to home rule, we'll determine a policy that works. And the other thing is that it really, even though it says cottage foods, there is still a ban on potentially hazardous food being part of that. So you're not going to be making sushi out of your house and be allowed to sell it. Okay, so that's, it's going to have to be within reason. Currently, what we get a lot are questions, someone's baking items at home for a bake sale for a church. That is allowable. It's for a nonprofit. Must be clearly identified that it was not produced in a kitchen that that's been inspected by the local health administrative authority. That's your local health department. So that's kind of where we're moving. But we get a lot of complaints from people who, and you have to look at it from both sides. We get complaints from people who are legitimately in the business, who are a baker, and they're selling cakes and this kind of stuff, and they complain about the home baker who's now selling things, posting prices on social media. I have a Facebook account, I can look it up, that kind of stuff. That home baker is not paying the overhead that the legitimate person is doing. So you got to look at it from both sides. A lot of people have great ideas what they want to run out of their home, and that's fine. The cottage food bill may actually allow that somewhat soon in the state of New Jersey. There will be labeling requirements, but when it comes down to like who's enforcing it, it's going to be the local health department, and I can promise you it's going to be kind of a crap storm, right? So now you're gonna have, it's one thing for me to go to Joe's facility and say, he knows where I'm coming from, I have an ID that says what I'm doing there, I can show him legal authority that I can come in with. Hopefully it's not on Christmas Eve when you're doing 2 months worth of business on that one day.
Happened before.
Or on a busy lunch or a busy dinner, and those are issues that we can talk about too, but, right?
I just got some real life examples. I just want to back you up a little bit.
Fantastic. And, you know, so these things, going to someone's home and seeing all these boxes of you know, it's happened and it's kind of ugly. So like all the other panelists said, do your homework, call us at the health department. I've had email chains where I went back and forth with someone literally 32 times. They said, well, can we do this? No, because of A, but I don't want to stop at no because of A. I want to help you get to the next step. I said, well, here are some other things that you can do that are legal, you know, so use us that way. I know we have a bad rap for being just kind of the, I don't know, like the Stasi of food regulations, which is ridiculous, and we should never be that way. And if you're ever not happy with one of my staff or how you're being dealt with, we're humans, we have bad days. Give me a call, and we'll get on that.
How about I just talk to you right now? How
Sure.
about we cut the middleman out?
There you go.
2 weeks ago, I'm working Great Adventure. Big event, 15 food trucks, 3rd year in a row. I've done it. They make me submit paperwork out the wazoo prior. Last year at this event, as a matter of fact, I sang your praises. Because I said, Ocean County, unlike my county, Monmouth County, has 1 health department, 1 inspection. Go work in Bricktown, Manalokin, Seaside. You know, that's not to say you don't spot inspect, you should. The only true way to inspect the food business is when you're actually making food. I know we'd all like say, come in when nobody's working and everything's spotless and Julio's out by the dumpster and Mike's over here and come and look at everything. Because when Julio and Mike and Frank and Betty are all working, it could be like a shit show in there when things are going on. Saturday morning, I get to Great Adventure. 8:30 for inspection, along with 15 of my fellow food truck friends. It's raining. We're already pissed off because we're not going to make money. We've already bought food, prepped, and shelled out vending fees. Oh, well, the health department's not going to come. Everybody's paperwork was in order. The local Great Adventure guy came around to look at our paperwork. I have to have a safe service manager's license. I have to have all this thing. Submitted a 2-week-old health report from Trenton, not Tuckerton, Trenton. So I figured, cool, Sunday the sun's up. We're making money. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I got 15 people lined up, tickets in there, and it's a food truck. It's not like a kitchen, so you're jammed in there. Hey, Johnny, the health inspector's here. He's doing a walkthrough. I looked him dead in the eye. I go, are you blanking me? He goes, no, he's here. At 2 o'clock, we're trying to make money. You didn't even show up Saturday morning to inspect us like you had told us to be there. And then this guy comes, and I asked for his card. He wouldn't give it to me. I said, you know, I'm speaking at Ocean County College. You better believe this story's coming up. I love the health department, and I think we need to be out there. And I'm actually, this home baking cottage law thing, my association, New Jersey Food Truck Association, we have a little small group of us. They're fighting. They don't want it to be approved. I think it should be approved because if you don't lax laws and let people roll the dice, and I know public health and safety are utmost important to all of us, but you've got to make it easier for people to take a risk. And that's just what bugs me about the whole thing. Because I want to be compliant, but then I don't even get the professionalism back. And because when that happens in a food truck, it throws everything off. Everybody's nervous. And I'm not even talking about, oh my God, INS, I'll be thrown out of the country nervous. It's like, you just don't know. I'm dead serious. You don't know. It flips everybody out. And in a food truck, I'm not back in the kitchen. He and I are yelling at each other. Whoa, what's going on in the front of the house? He comes like, everything's okay up front. We're in the back yelling. We're yelling, and you're sitting right there at the table looking at us. So it really put us in a very tough spot. And I just found it unbelievable that they did that to us at 2 o'clock on a sunny Sunday after being rained out Saturday, knowing that we all didn't make any money Saturday because it rained. I can't control the weather. Nobody can. But I can control when the health department comes on my truck, I think. But I really can't because they can come right on.
Joe?
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
But, you know, no argument or anything like that. But, okay. So, listen, you know, it's been my experience, okay, 20 years in the business. It's all about the approach sometimes. I mean, listen, I've been in situations, I've been on the street in festivals and stuff, and just somebody in Monmouth County or Ocean County, you know, they read the law a certain way, we read the law a certain way. We're just trying to make money. We're just trying to do what we got to do. The only thing, like I always say this, and I always say this, but a lot of people come to me and say, Joe, I got this brownie my grandmother used to make. I'm making it out of my house. Would you buy it? You know, how would you market this? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm always like a big sharer. Like if somebody comes to me with a concept, I'll listen to you. I'll try to help you out because you know what? I really didn't have that. I was just, open up and just go to. And I always look at it that I've been very fortunate in my life to help people and give them advice or do something to help them out. So I always say, listen, you know what? You make a great product. The best thing you could do is support your local fire department, support your local, first aid. Say to them, listen, you're health inspected, your kitchen has the hand sinks, you have all this stuff in place. Can I rent it? It goes into their donations, it goes in and makes them a profit, okay? It's sitting there anyway during the week. Now, the Cottage Health Act is decent. I wouldn't really mind it. I know that there's a lot of bakers. I'm on Bakers Association, so everybody's in a big uproar. Oh, we're bakers, this and that. We're paying the insurance, we're paying the overhead, blah, blah, blah. I think what it should be, just my opinion now, okay, is that they have to go through the same ServSafe certification. They have to go through the same storage restrictions. They have to have things taken care of. Listen, my grandmother made great lasagna. If I would have sold my grandmother's lasagna on the street back in 1988, I wouldn't even be doing Joe Leone's. But she did everything. But my grandmother was, my grandmother wasn't wearing gloves. My grandmother was, cutting a loaf of bread to herself and, grinding breadcrumbs in the kitchen. When I was going to culinary school, I was like, oh my God, you're going to get somebody sick. But we all lived. Everybody was okay, But, it's just, it is a very frustrating. And I give you a lot of credit for being up here because you're getting a lot because it's like with employees, we all get a lot in their things. But, sometimes, like I say all the time, like, sometimes it's not fair. And I said this to you out in the vestibule outside. I said, what's really upsetting, and I really wish that we could change things where the health inspection, but obviously you just threw out that there's not enough time in a day to do everything, okay? But I wish they would go and work on a food truck, work in my bakery, work in the kitchen, work with us for a week, and then look at the book and say, you know what, this isn't realistic, this is realistic. Okay, we could do that, and that's what sometimes I think our frustration is with the Board of Health. And all my guys, I say to my guys, we try our best, okay? Whatever you do what you do. Board inspector comes in, if he comes in, just do your job. And you know what? If they could teach us how to do something right, then just go for it, But, it gets very frustrating to me. Like, I'll get, let's say, something like 3-4 things written up in my folder, right? And I'll fix them, of course. I don't want my name in the newspaper, Joe Leone, whatever, okay? And then I'll go down the street to a pizzeria. Yep. And you got some guy, like, going like this and picking a slice of pizza, putting it in the oven, and I'm saying to myself, a natural is because we come from a world of, well, how come the coach's son is pitching and not my son? So we all get like that like, why am I being picked on at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon and, down in the decoy show, nobody's showing up, It's
Yeah, but my point is, if you truly cared about public health, then you should have been there Saturday. You're 12 hours late. I already made 1,000 people sick.
Right.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Look,
These are.
I'm not bashing on the health department. Thank God they are there. But all of us buy food, throw it in our car, drive it home, right? Do you have a refrigeration unit in the back of your car? Go to Restaurant Depot. I could cite you 100 people loading lambs, pigs in the back of a car.
Yeah.
And it's going to a restaurant. But did you buy that at a reliable food source? I got a Restaurant Depot. I drove it home in my Expo, but it's okay. It's like,
Sure.
you go to any 7-Eleven. I don't even get, again, the fire thing. I get a lot with the fire. This drives me nuts. Everywhere you run a food truck, $42, $42, $42. I spent $800 in fire fees. I have 19 health certificates, Mercer County, Essex County, Cape May, Burlington, Ocean Monmouth. And then 2 o'clock when I'm busy, guys come, hey, how you doing? Hi, just here to give a little quick inspection, make sure everything's okay in here.
Somebody was
I did. I wanted to lose my mind. I'm like, are you kidding me?
I got 500 tickets in front of me. What do you think? Everything's okay?
Nope.
He passed me. He was fine. I knew he was going to pass me. I don't worry about failing. I just find it over. It's like when a cop pulls you over. You're nervous. Do you know why I pulled you over? No, I have no idea. Okay, let me see your lights. Okay, here it is. Okay, thank you, officer. Oh, I just had a tail light. Okay, I'll get that fixed. It stresses you out. Your whole day, you're stressed out. I don't need that stress. I run a food truck. I already got enough stress.
He's still stressed out.
You have
No
idea
doubt.
how hard we work. You have no idea how hard we work.
There's no
Clearly,
doubt.
that was a stressful time for.
And actually, I think that there's a lot of value in me being here, though, too. it's
There
not,
is.
I don't feel them daggers. You guys know they're human, you know that I'm human
Right.
too, and I don't
Man.
oversee everybody's schedule, and that's the truth. But when you are, whether you're starting out or well-established, that communication
Yeah.
is key.
Yeah.
And we may have been scheduled to be out on Saturday and had a restaurant fire where we were responding, and then I had to reroute the guys. And you know, these things happen, and I'm not saying that is
It's like
what
the
happened.
New Jersey Transit argument. It's like, just tell me why the train's late. You know, I'm sick of hearing, I used to commute to New York, and I don't know how people still do it with what's going. Because people, who talked about customer service? More important than anything else, good food and you have to communicate with people.
Yes.
And when you don't communicate, that's when we get upset. That's
Yes.
like, what's going on here? I don't
All
even
right.
know.
So
No doubt.
Let me
getting
throw one thing out there.
Hold on.
How many people in here have a food allergy or know someone with a food allergy? Gluten-free, for example. Okay, how many of you eat ice cream or know someone who likes ice cream? And how many of you have children or a baby?
That has a food allergy and happened through ice
Or could have a food allergy, yeah. So those are three examples of regulation where when you think about it, it's really important that you have the correct regulations in place. Because if you have a food allergy and someone's making something and they claim that it's gluten-free because they didn't include gluten, for anyone who has a gluten allergy, but they're baking with flour and then they're just making something that's not made with flour in their home oven. The regulations are very, very important. Third-party certifications are very, very important. Parts per million, if you're familiar with gluten-free, is very, very important. For baby food to me is the highest risk category. I would never even look at a baby food if someone told me they were making it in their kitchen, and I would advise them to get out of that business immediately, because that's one area you just never want to take the risk, because you'll probably never recover from that. And you know, God forbid what happens to anyone out there. And then ice cream. How many of you are familiar with Jenny's ice cream or Bluebell ice cream?
Oh, yeah.
Listeria. So someone who's trying to make ice cream, you know, without even in a facility where the facility's not following proper regulations, Listeria is very hard to get rid of, and it goes away, it comes back, as Bluebell experienced in Texas. So regulation is extremely important, and so just to defend the health department and defend inspections, and understanding that, you know, regulation is a hurdle to business, but it's also helping business to make sure that people are able to eat and live safely as well. So just to sort of balance that out.
Okay, hold on. Joe, and then we'll go to.
I think I completely agree with that. And one aspect is, you know, labeling correctly. So you may be making a hot sauce, but you're concocting it with different things. Listing all the ingredients, it's regulation. You have to list all the sub-ingredients. So if you're using ketchup, you can't just say ketchup, because ketchup has 20 different ingredients in it. So that's important. That could be an allergen that's already in there that you don't even realize. Yeah, it's made with non-allergen stuff in theory, but the sub-ingredients that you're using might have other contaminants or other issues with it. So that's one thing we see a lot. People are doctoring up whatever it is that they're making, calling it their unique sauce or unique jam, and they're thinking it's clean, it's pure, because I'm just using coconut. Well, coconut flakes usually have like sulfates and other things to preserve it, and they're thinking they're getting the freshest coconut on earth. It's not. So just be mindful of all the ingredients you're using, not just the generic name for it.
Mark, you had a comment you wanted to make?
We're backtracking a little bit, but I just wanted to say that while I agree with a lot of the health inspector stories here, I mean, we've all been there, but the health inspector can really be your best friend in a way. When after Hurricane Sandy, for example, we gutted our kitchen, started from scratch. The very first person I called was our health inspector, because we had the opportunity to do things the right way. And if you can create and cultivate a relationship with your health inspector, or use them as an ally and not as an adversary, in the long run, that's to your benefit. And it's going to make everything so much easier later on. And now, you know, if we get an inspection, like you were saying, you get a list. And it's like, okay, I can fix that, I can fix that. But what the health department can do is have good people. We've been very fortunate to have really great health inspectors that take the time and explain everything and say, oh, geez, I didn't know that. And I didn't realize that's the reason we have to do that. That's really important. Like you're saying, if you're going to be going down the road, trying to create that kind of atmosphere, that's really important. And we've been very lucky to have those kind of people.
I've had the same relationship with Lawrence, our guy. You know what? Showed up, it might have been on my list, showed up on Christmas Eve, we do 2 months worth of business. I'm like, Larry, I'm out of code. He goes, oh, today's third. I'm like, cops outside, line out the door, Christmas Eve, blah, blah, blah. He goes, you know what, Joe? He goes, it's all right, I'm gonna take a look around, I know what you got going on, let me just do the inspection anyway, just keep mowing through. And you're right, they work with you, if you have that relationship.
I've had a health inspector come on wing night. I don't know if anyone knows our restaurant, but on Wednesdays, it's a zoo. He'll walk in and goes, I forgot it was wing night, and he'll turn around and leave and come back the next day, just because it's like, I'm not putting you through that stress. So there's a people element, there's, and
Did it to
as long as you
15
get
trucks
humans,
2
not
weeks ago.
robots working for the health department, then that's, it's good.
Jason, you want to
So-
add a comment?
Just to add, what I find is unique about the food service industry is that no matter what you make, if it's a wing sauce, a pork roll sandwich, Joe's bread, the foodie nature of our businesses is that we're all very passionate about what we do. Our meatball is the best. Our hot wing sauce is the best. And where regulation and education come into play is that a person without the proper education, those third-party certifications like ServSafe, which is taught as part of our curriculum, small plug, but what it does is it gives you the education and understanding that allergens have an effect. Flour as an ingredient can cause someone to be sick. And just because you're working not necessarily in a commissary kitchen or at home, what you find is that it's the home baker, the person who's just starting up, making that hot sauce, making that smoothie, that energy drink, that they don't have the knowledge of how your food can affect people. And from an outbreak standpoint, one of the things that we teach as part of the ServSafe curriculum is that it's not one particular event that causes a problem. It's always a series of events. The fact that the chicken came in and it wasn't properly refrigerated, even though we bought it from a reputable distributor. Then maybe it wasn't refrigerated as well as it should, it wasn't cooked as properly as it should, and before you know it, someone's sick. So having an understanding is usually very beneficial, and regulation does help with that. I've been involved now with 3 small businesses, all that were startups. One is a salt company, and the second is a woman who makes chocolates. She sculpts chocolates and she does some baking. And one of her problems is she can't find that commissary kitchen, but she's determined to start the business. And she can't understand why she can't do it out of her kitchen. And I'm trying to tell her that chocolate, dairy, eggs, flour, those are all things that can cause someone to be sick. If you don't have the proper refrigeration, someone is going to get sick, and that's the end of your business.
All right.
So those regulations, unfortunately, they do have a benefit.
Okay. Well, we know rules and regulations, they're here for a reason. It's not really to stress everyone out, Johnny.
It's just the reality of it, though.
The timing may not always be great. But that being said, we know that, well, I know as a director of the Small Business Development Center, I cannot do what I do without my team. That being said, I would like the business owners that are on the panel, how, team-wise, what do you think about your team? How do you work with your team? Are you close with your team? I know Joe mentioned he surrounds himself with people that are smarter than him in certain areas. I believe in the same thing. In order to get something done, you do need help from other individuals. So Mark, I'm gonna start with you. How immensely involved are you, not just with the food aspect of your business, but the actual management of your business?
I mean, I've always prided myself on working hard and working long hours and trying to always be there, but you can't always be there. Especially our situation, we're a 24-hour restaurant during the summer anyway. So you literally can't be at the place 24 hours a day. So it's important that you hire people that are good, reliable, and care as much as you do, which is, it's next to impossible to find someone that's going to be as passionate about your business as you are, of course. But the very next best thing is to find someone who's almost as passionate. And one thing that we've always done, whether it's front of house or back of the house, is hire people that are good people. You can always teach the job. You can always teach someone how to cook something, how to saute something. You can teach someone the proper way to serve a table, just the left, the right. All that to me is meaningless if they're not outgoing, happy, friendly, smiley people. And furthermore, let them shine. Let their personality shine. Don't hire someone to be a robot. You know, a lot of the chain restaurants, they're gonna walk up to your table and they're gonna say, "Hi, my name is Monica. I'll be your server today. Today's specials are," and they have a script that they read, and I just think that is such nonsense. You gotta let the people shine through, let their personality shine through. We've got a lot of unique characters that work at our place, to say the least, and it's one of the things I'm most proud of, is the people that we have surrounding us, like Joe said. Surround yourself with smart, creative people, and you'll be fine.
Jeff?
Well, you know what? Real simple. If you're here to open up a food business and you don't like people, you don't belong in this room. If you don't like food, you don't belong in this room. So part of our interview process, we say, you need to be successful here at Joe Leone's, you need to like people, and you need to like food and love food. If you can do that, everything else will come, just like you said. You know, one of the biggest struggles are, how do you teach people to care? You bring them in, well, you can't, but what we try to do, what I tried to do, and is we tried to bring them into our culture. Where did we start? I have an orientation. I'm blessed that I can do this, that I have enough people that can do the operations of the business. I spend 9 hours in an orientation with every team member that comes into my company. I started this 10 years ago. I didn't know back in 2001, I gotta have an orientation. It was, here's an apron, jump on, right? Now there's a process. I start with a piece of dough. This is what we started with. Let's make some bread. This is how we roll it. This is started with the Torna Bakery. This is our roots. This is what we're at. Okay. With team members, and I don't know if we'll get. I always refer to them as team members. They're only an employee when they get their tax paperwork. The only time they ever see the word employee or in the employee manual. Everything else is team members. And what happens is I try to bring them in to really motivate them into their skills. And I'm like, and I say that, I'm not afraid to admit that you're better than me in certain areas, but I am gonna key into you that you're gonna take that skill and you're gonna be so successful. 2 weeks ago, got a call from Chop. Okay, Chop on TV. We want Joe, you got the personality, this, that, and the other. I said to one of my team members, that's my operations director, okay? She's also a chef, but she's my operations director, okay? I said, you know what? I want to pass it to you. Do you want to go on the Chopped? I said, I have no problem you using our name, that you're our chef, the Chop Show. She's like, Joe, you wouldn't want that? No, you're a better chef than me. I want to win. You know, and that just, when I talk about the culture that you surround yourself with, you know, it's just like basics. You know, our parents used to tell us, stay away from the bad kids because nothing but bad comes out. Go with the good kids, everything but good goes out. And believe me, I have some bad kids that come in, bad people that come in, you know, devious and theft and this and all kinds of things that we worry about. But they weed themselves out. We always say, listen, you're either going to drink the Joe Leone Kool-Aid or you're not. If you drink the Joe Leone Kool-Aid and bleed Joe Leone green, you're going to be very successful here. I have people that started as dishwashers in my store 20 years ago. They're making $150,000 a year. Running a catering company. I mean, like, you know, the sky's the limit. I mean, me walking away, I would rather, I just love to just see people blossom. The ingredients that they add. And we always say, if you don't care, go care somewhere else and be successful somewhere else. Because you have to care in what we do. And it's all about ownership. Everyone that we built our building 15 years after the opening day of Joe Leone's. June 2nd, 1997, we opened up the bakery that I said with the mixer, the oven, and the cash box and everything else, okay? That was June 2nd, 1997. 5 years ago this June, we opened up our new facility down the street, okay, on 35. Right down the street, 1,800 feet down the street, okay? You talk to any of my team members, if I call them in here that was there that open day, you know what they say? I opened it. They individually say, I opened a new store. Thank you. Joe opened the old store and started 1997, but I opened up Joe Leone's at 500. Joe Leone opened up at 400. And that is the whole thing, but you know, I can't stress that enough. Don't ever be afraid. I grew up in the bread business. I grew up with this. Don't be looking at what I put in here. This is my job. I'm not gonna show you what's gonna be in this sauce. I'm not gonna, you crazy? You're gonna take my job. Wait a minute. How smart are you to do that? No, be smarter and sit there and say, you know what? I'm gonna teach you how to make potato salad. And then they sit there and say, let me put a little mustard in this, Joe. Nothing ever gets past me before it goes out for sale. But they come with me. We have a panel, like our hot table. We do 40 items a day, right? We have a panel of 10 people. Every month, I get pizza. Bring your ideas. Tell me how it's done. You know what? They did it. They talked about it a couple times when I started it 3 years ago. Now, all of a sudden, forget the pizza. They're walking in with trays of food that they made at their house, but we're not selling it. And I'm confident enough they know food safety, so we made it out okay. We're not getting sick. But, you know, feed the machine, feed what we do, you know, and that's how they grow. And you know what? My mother used to put pinoli nuts and raisins in the meatballs, and she comes in front of this girl, Sharon. You know what? We're going to put that on the menu next month. Do you know how proud they are? Do you know how many meatballs you're selling now? Because she's saying, yeah, I submitted this recipe, you know, this and that, try this, have a, and it moves. It's just, it's marketing. It's marketing.
Yeah.
So, I can't stress enough. You're starting your business, key. One more thing I just want to say. My brother-in-law, John, bought in 2001, okay? I couldn't do the bills. I couldn't stay up to 10 o'clock at night. I'd be working from 4 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock at night, I'm doing the payroll, I'm doing the bills. I couldn't do it anymore. My brother-in-law, John, goes, listen, I'm not doing anything. College isn't really working for me. I'm like, come on, I'm going to embrace you. I trust you. Don't steal from me, okay? And I'm always the boss. I'm always in charge. No problem. Comes in, he's starting to do all that stuff. He's looking at the records. He says, Joe, he goes, you got 20 people making more than you, right? He goes, it's 2001. You opened up in 97. I go, yeah. Look at those people. 20 years experience, 15 years experience, 10 years experience. This guy went to culinary school, pastry chef, this person here and everything else. And he goes, but that doesn't make sense. You're an owner. No. They're building it. They're building it. They have more, you know, at that point I had one child, one on the way, just married, right? The guy that was making $300 more than me a week, okay, he had 3 kids. He's 55 years old. So take care of him. He's going to bring his knowledge into us, builds the brand of Joe Leone's. Well, guess what? You know, we're 20 years later, and I'm happy to say that I'm the highest paid team member in the company. But it's just like investing back into your business. It's an investment. You got to invest in team members. You can't sit there and say, well, I'm going to pay you $10 an hour, pay them $15 an hour, they give you blood, and you're helping them feed their family. And you might have to take the sacrifice for a couple years or whatever. But that's just my philosophy. That's kind of like my business plan. It's not right now to my business plan, but that's some things that I've learned on my own.
John.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, my biggest problem, and I love, even as somebody in the space, hearing you talk, both of you, I don't want to say misery loves company, but you understand the pain that you go through, and I'm at that same point. I had that happen last summer. I have a partner in the truck. He said, I hope you're ready. This kid's going to make more money than you this summer. And I work just as bit, if not harder than him. But to your point, I understand that simple philosophy you tried to say, that you're building something down the road. And people are the most successful thing to what we do. I mean, they really are. And what's unique to me, at least being in a food truck, different than restaurants and preparing foods, similar yet so different. I get guys who are line cooks, trained cooks, throw them in a food truck, they're a nightmare. They're a nightmare. They're used to being in the back, doing what they want, moving at their own pace. In a food truck, every one of us has to work all 3 positions. So you got to be able to work the window and collect money and take orders. You got to be able to expedite. You got to be able to cook, and we kind of rotate everybody in. It's how we train them. But My biggest problem is I can't find enough good people.
No.
You know,
That's another question
It
coming.
is.
We'll talk
And I
about
try
that.
to pay well. I'm not looking, to say, oh, I want to pay $10 an hour. I want to pay somebody money so they can make a living, and they make tips on top of that. So they do all right. Most of them work in a truck. But, the guy that owns the empanada guy, Carlos, I don't know if everybody's heard of empanada guy. Yeah, he's kind of got an interesting story. He's become very successful. And I'm a little bit, want to be like that as well. I mean, he's up to 9 trucks in the store and all this stuff. Not to digress, but he's really successful with food truck because he'll sell you a truck and then he makes the food and sells it back to you to boot. Like, I don't make the pork roll, so you want a pork roll truck? And you gotta buy the pork roll from me. So he's really brilliant in that sense. But he said to me just 2 months ago, he goes, Johnny, if you ever want to get bigger, you gotta get off the truck. You gotta get off the truck. And I'm like, but I can't get off the truck. I am the truck. Like, I didn't intend it to become so synonymous like that.
But you gotta teach your culture to the people to be you on the truck.
It's hard, yeah.
And
That's
like,
my hardest
I would
challenge.
sit there and say, now, do I know if someone's taking a prosciutto out the back door right now at Joe Leone's? No. Do I know if someone's screwing around on their cell phone in the bathroom right now? No. But I will tell you, I got at least five or six people out of the staff of 13 on my counter right now in Point Pleasant, and maybe 3 on my counter in Seagirt, guaranteed feeding the machine, working hard, accommodating the customer. I just wanted to say one thing. I don't want to confuse anybody when I say surround yourself with people that are better than you. Absolutely. But what happens is, now that story of the guy that started as a dishwasher, right? I always like to hire people that are green, and you show them their way, because sometimes they bring bad habits in.
Yeah.
Okay? But you be very careful, because everybody on paper looks really good. Everybody on paper looks really great. But this guy, Willie, okay, that's running, okay, he started as a dishwasher, okay? The way he washed dishes, the way I watched him wash dishes, very, very fast, efficient, organized, mechanical. I said, this guy is going to be a great chef. I need to take that organization skills that he has naturally and take him and say, here's a knife, here's an onion. Let me see you cut these 50 onions. Now, somebody with a lot of experience, which I want, okay? I'll take them in, give them a 5-pound block of cheese. I want it all cubed. Then I want a 5 ingredient soup, okay? And then when they're making that soup, I walk up to them and say, make me an omelet. Right there, those are 3 tests. You can cook if you could do those 3 things and just think, and guess what? And we don't make omelets at Joe Leone's. So we don't have omelet pans. So figure it out. But those are like the little tests that we have. But what I'm saying, I know we got a lot to discuss, but what I'm saying is, it's, you key into people that are, I took a guy that was working on my counter, slicing ham, has a graphics degree, okay? And said to him, what are we doing? I'm keying into what you got. You've been here. You've been living the system for 2 years. Now let's get the message out. Let's go. Start doing our Facebook. Let's start taking pictures. Let's get our billboards designed. Let's go. Now all of a sudden they're like, boom, and guess what? I pay him the same amount. But he loves it now because he's thinking, why did I educate myself and I'm slicing ham? There's nothing wrong with slicing ham. There's nothing wrong with $10 an hour or whatever. He doesn't make $10 an hour, but what I'm saying is that it's just, and that's what the whole thing is. On orientation, what are you good at? You can tell me how great you are on a piece of paper. What are you good at? What do you love? What did your grandmother make in your kitchen that you loved? How did you feel about that? What did food make you feel like? What do you think of people? How important is it to smile at customers? All those types of things. But I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry.
enjoying the conversation.
I was gonna say, it's funny what you're saying. With us in a food truck, I swear to you, and I'm not degrading line cooks or properly corned chef. Obviously, we make sandwiches, not that complicated.
I
But
probably
there's
couldn't work in your food truck.
yeah, you could. I mean, the thing I find too
I got a
challenging.
tail ham.
And I don't know how you do that, both of you. Roll tail ham, that's fine. But the thing I find most challenging about even what we do, as simple as it is the replication of the same thing over and over and over again. Knock Domino's, Papa John's, Panera Bread, all these mass big box food guys. I'm always amazed how they can replicate. Of course, it's a lot of processed food and they give them steps to make it. But back to the question of hiring people in my truck, I'd rather have a theater major or a bartender any day over a waitress Waitresses are great. Who said the scripted line? Who was the one talked about the script?
Fine.
Right. I've waited tables for years. I'll be great in your food truck. A waitress is used to coming, hi, how are you? Reading that line, blah, blah. Here's the bill. I'm going to run in the back. Tip me, please. Oh, thank you. And they go in the back. Oh, you tip me. I hope you have a great evening this evening. In a food truck, you got to deal with a guy like you who says, oh, can you scoop the roll out? And I only want egg whites, and I like my bacon crispy. Sure, happy to do it. Customer's always right, most of the time. You do the thing for them, they don't even tip you. I mean, you want to jump out there and strangle them. It's like such a different play. You have to, at least in my thing, because it's like a pulpit that you're in, you have to engage. And also they're waiting. They're not sitting at a table, oh, I'll be right back with your drinks. Oh, here's something from the chef. Sorry, it's taking so long. They're standing there, and then this body language begins. And that's why I say, uncross your arms or you're not getting anything, because I know what you're saying to me without saying it. And they all laugh. What do you think I'm saying? That you're pissed off, you're still waiting, and why is this taking so long? But I need to hire people, and that's what's such a hard thing, that can feel that can, I don't think you could teach that, Joe. Like, honestly, do you think you could? You can't. They either have that ability to volley with the customer on the fly, or they don't. And for us, that's the biggest thing.
Your thing is unique, and I always say this all the time. You put systems in place are great for costing, because you guys have amazing systems at Whole Foods. Okay, and I love that. I study your stores like crazy, and how you guys have your systems, because they have to. They're so big. But with Joe Leone's, we give them a little leeway. You want a little bit extra fresh mozzarella, you want a little thick and everything else. There's something to say, like, you can standardize a Domino's pizza, and you can do, like, Crofton, which is a great example. But, like, there's something about, that egg being broken on a pork roll and tail ham.
You want it
and
running
cheese
or
sandwich.
hard? Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, there's something of a uniqueness, and what happens is it shows their personality through it. I mean, can you train it? If they want to learn it, yes. I mean, that's
How hard is it for you guys to staff, especially now? I mean, we are part of the Jersey Shore, and we hear it a lot from our food service clients that they really have a difficult time keeping their staff, especially during the summer, finding qualify, I guess, individuals. I don't know if it's qualify or at least someone who.
I remember last year we had McClune, right, and Maryland, two
Right.
like successful restaurant people. And I
Right,
was even
from Monmouth
shocked when I was
County.
sitting next to them last year. And that's what I got from both of them, was that we work in an environment, in an industry that's very transient. The turnover, and that's why I'm most impressed. Whenever you, the amount of years you guys have done this, that really, I'm only 4 years into it, and I'm shocked I've survived this long. To do what you guys have done and keep people that long.
Help, I mean, I'm sure down on the island it's worse than what we go through, but this is one of my biggest issues, right?
So you bring everybody in, you give them the culture, you give them the whole thing, and they're really, really great. They work from like October to May 1st.
Yeah.
We just had 25 people leave our staff of 170. But we know we start hiring in January to replace those people and get them all ramped up. Look, let's face it, be really clear about this. We're 60 miles from Manhattan, 80 miles from Philadelphia. What are we, 45 minutes, an hour from Atlantic City? What do people say in the food industry? I want to work in New York. I want to work in Philadelphia. I want to work in Atlantic City. I want to work in the big casinos. I want to do this. I want to do that. And to be honest with you, and anybody that sees it on the internet, I'm not, people are on vacation here. It's the Jersey Shore. You're getting all the people that are just like hanging on, I'm going to come down to the beach, I'm going to surf, and I'm going to make a couple sandwiches at Joe Leone's and blah, blah, blah. But, I look at it this way. It's about training for the day. It's days. It's not training for the long term. Yes, I have, out of the 170 team members that we have, I would say 90 of them, because we're able to pay, and these are career people that are actually having a career at Joe Leone's. But the rest, in and out. That's why there's hinges on the door. It just opens and closes. And it's the same, and I'll use one of your words. I'm from Hudson County too, we say it. It's same bullshit. Same bullshit. Different names, different faces, same bullshit. I can't work this day. And the work ethic today is a major issue. Entitlement. I hire people, or not hire people. I have people that interview people. It's like, let's make a deal. I can't work on Wednesday. I got off on Saturday. But if I'm off on Sunday, I could work Saturday, so I could go out on Saturday. And like everything is premeditated. And I'd say to myself, I used to get it. We call it in Italian, "Dacala." If I ever said no, I don't want to work on Sunday, it was like, you went to work when you were told to work.
You need a job? Yes. Well, I need you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But it's a game. I mean, I literally had someone that was a subpar team member, okay, asked to be successful somewhere else by one of our managers. We don't ever say fired. Be successful somewhere else. Bring your skills somewhere else, right? Okay? Basically said, but I don't understand. Gets to me, which a lot of team members don't really get to me, and hopefully we'll talk about structure and stuff. But gets to me, Joe, I don't understand. And my name's on the board, so regardless of what structure you put in place, they're always coming to Joe, right? So they get me, I don't understand, I'm doing a good job. And I say, I'm not gonna say, just in case he's watching this, so-and-so, Mary Joe, right? Whatever his name is, Mary Joe. So I said to him, I go, really? I said, you know, I look at your folder. I said, I'm gonna give you a chance. I said, let me go in the office, I'm gonna look at your folder. So I look at the folder, I said, you mean to tell me you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this, you did this. You got caught selling weed, you got this, you got that, all this other stuff, and I'm saying you're a good asset to Joe Leone's. I'm on time every day. What? But that is in the mind of this generation, that's them thinking that is a trophy. That is a top thing that I'm on time every day.
Joe, I kid you not. I said to a kid, I'm like, showing up is half the freaking job, and half them can't even do that. I can't tell you, load up, ready to go somewhere at 5 in the morning. They show up 30 minutes late.
Right.
They can't even show up on time.
So we have Joe Leone time.
Yeah, it's a
15
half hour
minutes
early.
before, 15 minutes before, and whatever, and we always have a buffer. They show up like at 8, you're late.
Yeah. I
You're
was
late.
getting here.
And guess what? You're staying 15 minutes after everybody goes home. We wait for you, you wait for us to go home. But it's tough. It's tough. It's like, you know, I have 5 children. It's like employing 12-year-olds sometimes.
Mark,
really tough.
can you add to?
Oh, I concur. I mean, there's not much to add to that. Showing up on time isn't the only part of the job.
Well, but
But
that's
it's
what
one
they
of the
think.
hardest parts of the job, just getting them to show the freak up. And yeah, particularly with our needs, seasonally, it's a whole different animal. You know, I wish we could employ people year-round, but that's just not what we do. And you could get better people that way. But at the same time, we've been really fortunate to have some of the same employees over the course of 20-plus years. We've got cooks that started out as dishwashers that have been there 20, 21 years, servers that have been there 15, 16, 17 years, managers, you know, and you have to cultivate that environment to make that happen. You have to create an environment where it's a family feel, and everybody, you know, feels like they're part of something bigger than just themselves.
We have this up here. This is family. This is something we came up with, my friend Mike. Forget about me, I love you. Forget about yourself, put others before yourself, and this is our thing. We say Joe Leone family. It's true.
Yeah.
Like in your thing, you have to make sure that they love chicken wings. Even if they're a vegetarian, they love chicken wings.
Ironically, my wife can't stand chicken wings.
Excellent. Well, to John Leone's point, it's called servant leadership. It's exactly what you're doing, which is known to really make businesses excel. That being said, on the panel, how important was a business plan for you? And in terms of trends and tools, how did that helps your business continue to grow and succeed?
I'll be the shortest, so I'll start. I didn't have a business plan. It's the end of the conversation. We literally and figuratively winged it from the start. Slogan right there.
too.
Is that a high five? Is that what that was? Winged it.
We wing it.
That being said, I really wish I had a better business background. I wish I had services like that are available to you folks today. The closest thing I ever did in college, I was an English major. When I opened my business my junior year in college, so I said, gee, I should probably study on this or something. So I took one business class, and it kind of opened my eyes to some things, but it was so far from what I really needed. I didn't know accounting. I didn't know marketing. I didn't know anything. And that's why I think our business took a really long time to build momentum. I think we wasted 7 to 10 years of, you know, not making money, just, you know, having a good idea and developing a following, but not really cashing in on it. I think we could have expedited that process a solid 10 years if I'd had a better business background.
I just went,
okay, I looked at 20 years, going into 20 years this June. I actually said, you know what? I'm finally going to get up. I'm going to go down to Disney and I'm going to take a leadership class. I never took a leadership class in my life. My brother-in-law, John, I said, listen, this is like going to cost us $12,000. And he's like, what? I go, yeah. And I said, I'm going to be the first to do this. And I said, if it really works, we'll start sending some of our team leaders down there. And he goes, all right, you're the boss. That's what you want to do. And I go, I really do. I said, I think I missed out on that. We talk about education, right? I'm a graduate of Ocean County Vocational Program. Love it, okay? Went to another culinary school. I'll leave nameless on that, okay? Because when I opened up, I said, I come from the school of hard knocks, right? Well, guess what? There's no graduation day for me on hard knocks. Every day is going forward. You're learning every day. You keep going. But one of the things I said, and just like you, it's like, I said to myself, my brother-in-law says, Joe, you're a phenomenal leader. You're a great leader. Look what we built here, And I said, you know what? No, we gotta go the next 20 years. We gotta go more. I gotta get more educated. There were days I used to take somebody in the back and beat the crap out of them, and then say, now go back and cook or leave. But some of the stuff that I could tell you, which I'm gonna write a book someday if I have 5-10 minutes to write a book, right, Deb? But there's stuff that I used to do that was just so Hudson County crazy that I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy. But now I put an operations director in place that is educated in human resources, that are with policies, and all these different things take a lot of time to do. But it's really, I could say if you could use the Ocean County College, that's great. That's what I said. When we get together, it's like, I need to be educated. We have a family day at Joe Leone's. We bring in people that run seminars about customer service and about how to find a perspective switch of yourself and, identify things with yourself and stuff. And it's so much more than cooking. It's so much more than cooking. It's so much more. It's amazing. I didn't know how to run a book. I was 21 years old. What did I know how to pay a bill? I just used to go home and just give my mother money, and that was it when I went to work when I was a teenager. But it really woke me up. It really woke me up. I was sitting there with all these executives from all over the country, and I'm like, wow, look at this. Now this is what leadership is supposed to be back. And I got to tell you, we're having a great run. Today's May 1st. I went and did that in January, the first week of January. We've done so many things. Talk about surrounding yourself with good people. I reorganized my whole entire management team. 8 people of 18 were moved. One was a catering director. Now she's a person on the floor and managing the floor. Someone that was on the floor, I did a swap. I took one guy that I kept trying to push and push and push to be a manager. Wasn't there. He just wasn't a manager. He was a good worker. And it took me that class to actually, after this guy worked for me for 15 years, saying, I'm trying to make you a manager, but you're not. You're a phenomenal worker. So I'm going to key into your skills now, and now I'm going to put somebody that I think is the right thing. But it really does a lot of work. So definitely take this. Obviously you're doing it. You're here, learning. So it's all good. Go to Disney with me next year. Got good wings there.
I can jump in and just say that I've seen brands build over the years, and I think having a business plan is really important if you think about building a brand and building a business as sort of the yin and yang of what you're looking at doing, assuming most of you guys are looking to get into food. I think it's really important that you have a solid plan. The brands that have executed better in my line have had plans and have had very clear goals, research, a process in place. Even if they didn't have a lot of people in place, they knew exactly what they were going to do, how they were going to get there, and then as they've grown, they've added the people in that they've needed as they've been able to afford. So I think that's really important. One other thing I wanted to touch on actually from the last conversation too is just in terms of dealing with retail, make sure that you're and this is just sort of a side note. In terms of how you approach the retailer, make sure you're communicating on time, you're meeting deadlines, and that you're being transparent. If something's not going to work, be transparent about that, because you don't want to mess up that relationship by promising something you can't deliver. So,
Can I just ask you a question?
Sure.
So like when Whole Foods started, right? Did they have a plan?
I believe so, yeah. I mean, John Mackey started, what, 30-something years ago, and he
You put a lot of tenure in that.
he started one store. I don't know if he had a plan to have 400 stores, but, you know, I think, you know, I think he had a vision, and
But I find for me, which is pretty frustrating, we get people, like, we had someone that came in and was like, I want a Joe Leone's. I'm gonna build this Joe Leone's and everything else. I got money behind me. I got $1.5 million. I'm like, okay, keep going. And they're like, all right. And I go, you know, but they have this big, you know, one thing I can say, I don't know who was on my shoulder because, I mean, I thank God every day. But, you know, it built, like I said, the customers built wings. They needed wings. It built itself up. And like, I definitely would say if I had a business plan, maybe I would have been a little bit better and more organized. But, you know, it was just amazing though, because I always say, like, if you're always concentrating, I think you said this before, if you're concentrating on those big details, all those little details get missed. And like, I just, you know, every single day, we're carving and tuning and tuning and tuning and tuning. It's very, it's just, it's sometimes frustrating for someone to come to me and say, I got $1.4 million, my father's gonna give me money, and I'm a really good cook, and I can cook really good at home, and everybody loves my food, and I'm gonna put a Joe Leone's together, and, you know, would you help me? How do I even start that? My business started from bread and built its way up from other people bringing in ideas, you know? It's kind of like a gray area, you know? Like, I think with, like you're saying, with branding and marketing, how we're gonna market it, yes. I just, I don't know, it's just frustrating. You know?
I think it though comes back to, and every one of you I think said that word, and again, my advertising life, vision, vision, vision. It's this fundamental belief that you see something somebody else doesn't, and you just get the blinders on. I hate to harken back to that JetBlue guy, and I worked with one other business guy like that. They just see something and that's all they see. And I'm not saying the bull in the china shop, they knock everybody over to get to it, but they're so committed and driven to their idea that nothing is standing in the way of success. And a lot of it is luck, and a lot of it is weird stuff. You don't understand how it happens, but I think it all falls back that you clearly saw where you wanted to go. I mean, in regards to food trucks, you know, it's a completely different beast to some degree of what you're talking about, but at the same time, I didn't really have a business plan, and I know what a business plan is. And I say, well, where's your business plan? My friends would yell at me. So I guess I survived despite not having one. I do in fact have one now, because this is the point when people come to you and say, well, what is your business plan? What does it look like? But you do need to articulate that vision in a very, it's, you know, I think people get scared, like think it's some big document. It's 1 to 2 pages. It's, here's the niche, here's what we're gonna offer, here's the vision, here's how we're gonna accomplish this goal, here's the kind of money we're looking for, and here's when we're looking to start it. Like, it's just a map, and I probably, Joe, if you did do one back when, it'd probably be funny at this stage in your career, and the same with you, to look back and say,
I think
isn't that
I
funny,
think
we
it would
thought
be really
this.
different. You know, like our mission statement, you go to different companies, you got this
Yeah.
big mission statement, blah, blah, blah. Ours is excellence, tradition built upon quality, quality service and training.
Yeah,
Training, 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 service, and quality. The best quality food for the best value, which we kind of say, like, you know, you got good value product that you put out there, okay? Service, good internal service and external service. So you should internally serve each other very well, and externally serve the external customer. And training, you know, and training.
Yeah.
The qualities of the core, like I loved what you said, because it's like, I want to come and eat your wings now. Like, I want to go down there now because I'm sure they're good. You know, I had them a long time ago. But what I'm saying is, it's like, you know what? I've been to your place at 11 o'clock at night, and it was it was good value, and that's what I want team members to give to our guests. And I want someone to get a sandwich, go home, say, you know what? I paid $15 for this sandwich. Open it up and say, you know what? I got something for this. I worked hard for that $15.
Yep.
I got something for this. Not feel like they got beat up.
yeah.
you know, one thing about the blinders though, just going back to that point, is if you have an idea for a product, you're gonna have a lot of people telling you no. It's my job to say no, I'm a gatekeeper. Some of the most interesting products we've launched in the last few years have been products that came into oversaturated categories and found some little niche or wedge in that category, and were able to sort of redefine and reshape that category. I mean, look at Siggy's yogurt. I mean, he came onto the Greek yogurt market with an Icelandic yogurt, I mean, yogurt's probably the most saturated category, and he built a business, but an entirely new platform of yogurt, which was a variation on Greek yogurt. So, you know, you have to have the blinders on and trust your idea. But the flip side to that is you have to be willing to let the market take your idea where it's going to take it. So, you know, if you're making meatballs and the market is asking for, you know, pinoli and raisins in the meatballs, let the market take you in that direction. You know, if they're, you know, the market's going to tell you that you need to go this direction or this direction, and the people who fight that are the ones whose brands just don't survive. You know, you have to let the market sort of take you within reason. You have to let it speak to you and hear what it's saying. So, and you have all these resources who have experience in that. I mean, whether it's on the food safety side or on the incubation side, I mean, you've got people out there who can give you feedback if you put your product in front of them. So, you know, never don't lose those cards and always solicit that feedback.
Thank you, John.
I want to say one thing though. When you talked about, just I think something about, hey, I'm a good cook, I want to open a restaurant. I hear that all the time from people in food trucks. I'm a really good cook, I make really clever stuff. I go, I'm sure you do, but it's going to take you a hell of a long time to build a business on, I'm a really good cook and I make really clever stuff. At least in my space, in the food truck space, and I'll say to everyone, sorry, you have to clearly articulate and define and brand what the hell you're doing. If you come to me and say, I just make good food, well, good luck. I mean, there are trucks out there that just say we make good food. But most of the trucks that have gotten any traction or succeeded are very defined. Oinkimu Barbecue, the empanada guy. I helped a guy launch a Polish food truck. He's just doing pierogies and kibasi. You know, you have a very short window to interact when you're in a food truck, so you don't want them wrestling with, oh, well, what do you make? And I don't understand. Right, or then you go there next week, oh, I only do that on Tuesdays, sorry, you're here Wednesday. Like, that's another thing that's hard for a food truck. And I looked at all the other trucks I thought were successful. Oinkimu was one of them. That guy still has 5 things on the menu, and they're one of the top trucks with 3 of them now in the country. So, you know, defining what you do and figuring out that how you position. The yogurt one's a great analogy. There's always a crowded marketplace, but there's always somebody who sneaks in because they're offering some need that's being unmet by the current guys in the space. And differentiation, passion, and also the word everybody's said a lot here, customer service, customer service, customer service. You're dealing with the public, you're giving them stuff. That is so crucially important, at least, again, in just my food truck world.
Okay, hold on.
Try to weed out your friends.
Just 1 second. Show you want
Your
to add
friends
something
always have a
regarding
lot of
the business
ideas.
plan?
Yeah, just in
And
regards
we'll
to
come back
business
to you.
plan, I've seen people write long ones and short ones. Usually, to John's point, stick to the short one. People usually have, you know, half a minute to, you know, read the executive summary and decide whether you're going to read the rest. The other side of this is don't get into like analysis paralysis. Don't keep on doing market research and spinning in the wheel, because I've seen people do research. You should do your homework. You should understand who your customers are. You should understand what your niche market is. However, don't just because you're afraid to launch a business, because you're afraid of failure, doesn't mean you keep on spinning in this wheel where you're doing research and trying to get everyone's opinion. If you have a good feeling for it, go at it. Test the market out. Don't risk a lot. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But you got to jump in the game sooner or later. Don't delay. And I think business plan is oftentimes used as a handicap. You know, it's your cane. I'm just going to think about this more and get it perfect. There's no perfect time.
Right.
Get in.
You know, I want to just say when I said don't listen to friends, I was doing a consulting job, and this place, on the confidentiality, I can't say who it is, but this place was totally confused when I walked in. I was just like, what do you want to be? I'm confused. I've been here for 10 minutes. I don't know what you want to be. Well, my mother likes this, and my friend Johnny said I could do this, and everybody will tell you how to run your business and give your vision. And you know what? In all fairness, they all have the right intentions. They want you to succeed. They want to help you. So everybody perceives to be like, oh, well, you know, do this and do this idea and everything else. And, you know, a lot of people know how to run your business other than you. So I always tend to listen and kind of like weed out where it's coming from. So, you know, it's very hard to just think, you know, if you listen to all your friends, you're going to get more confused and stay away from your focus and stay away from your visitors. I love feedback from my team members. I love feedback from customers. Absolutely. It's big. It's crucial because they're in the business now. But if somebody walked into me and said, you know what, Joe, I think you should make pork roll, egg, and cheese sandwiches and put them on your hot table. Why? Because I like pork roll, egg, and cheese, and I want to come to Joe Leone's and eat pork roll, egg, and cheese.
oh, you know what, I think maybe you should put egg-breaded eggplant on your menu. Okay, now you're keeping it within my vision. You know, and doing like an egg base instead of breadcrumbs. Now you're talking my business, so.
It's funny, when I started with the truck until this day, I swear to you, I'm figuring out how to trademark it. I'm the only guy in the state who uses white American cheese. When I started, I got more crap from the Taylor ham or pork roll side. What the hell, where's the cheese? That looks just like the egg. Oh, there's a piece below the egg and the top of the egg. That's how we do it with white cheese. Now that's our #1 differentiator, is that we're the only one. You look at any top 50 sandwiches, normally we're in there somewhere, but they're all orange cheese, and I just didn't want to use orange cheese. It seemed like a simple way to differentiate a thing that everybody makes. Pork roll, egg, and cheese sandwiches are like pizza, and I enjoy that about pizza. Every place is different. Even Papa John's, making fun of Domino's, they all have got their little way of putting it together, and I enjoy that about it. Similar to what we make, there's a lot of different ways to do it, but, you know, I don't like anybody going rogue. I'll say it all the time, do not go rogue in the truck, and it happens. Well, I like a lot of sriracha on this. And then the guy comes back, you know, could you be a little light in sriracha? Other guys putting a lot of sriracha on it. And I knew he was, because I said, how the hell we go through a whole bottle of sriracha in a week? Like, remember this lasts a month and it was gone. But he had a very heavy hand, and I would keep explaining to him, like, not that much bacon. And finally I just say, he was a proper cook, trained. I'm like, it's not gonna work out for you.
Okay.
It's just keeping people back to vision. I can't say it enough. Just believing in yourself and being true to yourself is more important than anything. And do listen to people, but at the end of the day, you're the captain of your ship. He's absolutely right. People tell you everything to do, and their intentions are sincere, but
You know,
All right,
to Joe's
question?
point, write a business plan and have a set of rules, and if it doesn't apply to that rule, like, use that as your guide, and don't deviate from that, because, and be able to say no. Saying no
Yeah.
is,
It's key. One thing about a business plan, always remember, it is a living document. It's not, doesn't mean that just because you put one together, it's etched in stone and you cannot change it. You know, your business plan changes as your business continues to change and evolve. I mean, we have businesses here that have gone through spectacular growth in over 20 years. Johnny's going on his 4th year, 5th year, so they've all experienced some sort of growth. So a business plan for me is a guide. It's a roadmap. Use it as such. You know, it's gonna help you think about the critical things that you need within your business that are gonna help you get off to the right start, help you during your growth cycle, because all businesses go through growth cycles. That being said, across the panel, tools. What tools are out there besides, we're a resource, which we are a tool, but in terms of tools that you can recommend to the audience, and then we're gonna get into the Q&A, and then we'll have a final wrap-up at the end. So, Matt, any tools that you could recommend that they can go to that's gonna help them with the process, one way or the other, and we'll take it across the panel all the way through.
Sure. So I think that, and I'm asked this all the time, when we're talking to other professionals in public health, what are the needs? And even though we're a little different, obviously we'd be rigid compared to a business plan that's more creative and your own vision, and obviously I'm locked in by a lot of different rules, but there's 2 important tools that will get you over almost any other hurdle. And the first one is people. People are my most valuable resource. My inspectors have bad days. They can be bad tools on certain days, right? But I mean, you know, you don't dig the same hole with a spade shovel as you do with a flat shovel, right? So I know where people's strengths are. Use the good people around you, but obviously with all the same forewarnings that the other entrepreneurs have told you about listening to friends, right? Use good people, and that might mean you use us, and that's fine too. The second tool is communication. It's the utmost thing, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I always want to hear from you. If you have a venture and you start out and you're not even in our jurisdiction or something, that's fine. Call me anytime. Say, look, I'm having a hard time with this over here. If you can communicate, I can get you past that hurdle. If you have good people who are driven, good people who are wise, willing to you don't have to be the best business person in the world. If you can listen to me, and if I can listen to you, we can get past any hurdle. The top 2 tools really are the people and as a resource that you surround yourself with, and the communication that you open up. Like I said, email chains 32, 40 messages long. I mean, at one point this guy was like filling water balloons at kids' parties and serving barbecue and French fries, and then he was changing left and right, and that's okay. Every time he comes back, he deserves an answer that's consistent with the regs, but also, I have to have an interest, I have to be invested and own the outcome of that conversation. It might mean that he doesn't enter the industry, but it might mean that I got him over some hurdle that maybe somebody else couldn't get him past. What's that? I have a whole pile of cards.
Mark?
Well, similarly, I think people are the best tool you could possibly utilize. When we first opened up, again, I was an English major. I knew nothing about starting a restaurant. It happened just sort of. People are really important, as Matt was saying. If you, for me, it came after the fact, but once I realized I was in way over my head, I talked to people who were successful, and I talked to experienced people. One of my good friends, his father owned a really successful diner, and I went to him. He was my #1 resource for the first couple years of our business because I knew nothing. I knew nothing about it. You know, margins, percentages, food costs. How do you store this? Where do you buy that? How do you get that machine? So those are tools that, I mean, it seems kind of obvious. Ask somebody who knows, but maybe it's not that obvious. Find somebody who you know has done it and done it well, and they can be your ultimate resource.
Joe?
I'm really old school. Use your ability, and you know, I was at some at Rutgers, and somebody asked me a question like, you know, how did you come from there to here? Work. Don't just depend on anybody else to do it for you. Work with your team. Work as hard as your team. I'm the type of person, when I first opened my business, maybe I missed out on a lot, like the first, 8, 9 years. But work until you can't work anymore, and then get up the next day and work again, and just keep going head first. And that's the biggest tool that I always used. Now I got an operations director and a great partner, my brother-in-law John, and I'm able to shut my phone off on Saturday night at 8 o'clock and turn it back on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. and at my kids' games, and I'm going to leave here and be with my daughter for the rest of the day, my 5-year-old for the rest of the day, and just have alone time with her. And I mean, it comes, but if you think that you're just going to have other people do the work for you, it's not going to happen. Now, you need people to work with you, but I am a big believer. But from Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. till Saturday night at 8 p.m., I'm working. My operation goes 23 hours a day, with operation not open 23 hours a day, but going. Call me, I'm there. You need me to make bread, you need me to wash dishes, you need me to scrub the floor. You just gotta go back to the basics and work. That's what this country was built upon, work. You just gotta work.
All right, so I'm going to share some concrete ones and then some less concrete ones. So I'm going to talk about the Microsoft Office suite, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, really important. Excel can be your best friend if you're starting a business. Excel can do so many things for you. Email etiquette, how to properly email somebody. Make sure you're stating your thoughts clearly, and ending with a question if you need an answer. So that it's clear what the person on the other side is expected to send back to you. To your point, contacts, mentors. Having a mentor is so important. Finding someone who can answer questions for you, like your friend's dad who had the diner. Really important. I can't emphasize enough. And to that point. Like food programs, like the university food programs, like the Rutgers one, really important to utilize all the knowledge bases that are out there, because there are so many tools that if you start asking questions around people in the business, so many things will become available to you. There's the Specialty Food Association that's based in Manhattan that does the Fancy Food Show every summer. They're a great resource as well, and I would just put a plug in there that if you have a brand, they're totally worth joining. And then I'll end on two very sort of ethereal ones: instinct, intuition, and listening. Trust your instinct, trust your intuition, and listen to what people are telling you. If all the voices are saying something, then they might be right. You know, be analytical and listen to what people are telling you.
Good advice. I think, echoing everything everybody else said too, I couldn't talk to enough people in the beginning when I started this food truck endeavor. At that point, there weren't a lot of trucks. There's still not a lot of trucks in New Jersey, so it was hard to get a fellow food truck person to even talk to you. The first gig I had started 4 years ago at the Red Bank Farmers Market. It was our first little, the cops aren't gonna chase us away and we're allowed to be here and everything. And I had to park next to the Cinnamon Snail. Does anybody know this truck? Well, it's an extremely successful food truck. It ceased to be, it's now a restaurant in Manhattan, but the guy truly was the first all-vegan food truck in the country. And he had started in Red Bank and realized right away they couldn't even run in Red Bank, led him to Jersey City and then into Manhattan and a cookbook and a restaurant and Penn Station and accolades out the wazoo. It took 2 years before he'd even talk to me. Like I was just this guy in this little black and white truck that sold pork roll. But when he did start to talk to me, and I wished I even got to speak with him sooner, he gave me a lot of different advice, especially about events and things like that. So I've made it a practice, and I swear I'm on video saying it numerous times. If anybody comes to my truck and starts asking me about food trucks, I know within 15 seconds, the line I say, do you have one or do you want one? And they go, what do you mean? I go, a food truck. You obviously have one or you want one. I know. You don't walk up to the bar, so how's business? What percentage of tips did you get? They'll ask you questions and you know, and I honestly mean this sincerely. I'm happy to tell anybody what I've learned and what I know because I'm a small business guy, I'm an entrepreneur. I want to be that same resource to somebody else. There's a food truck association in New Jersey. It's kind of young, but it's worth looking into. To become a member, if you have a food truck, you have to be in business for 3 months and get 2 references to get in. But there's more advocacy and more references out there, but talking to other business owners, it's the only way to learn. And I've had numerous people work my truck and they'll say to me, I only want to be on there for 2 months, I want my own food truck. Great, let me partake what I know and show you how this works. And good luck, you know what I mean? I'm not threatened by somebody else unless they would say, hey, I'm doing the Taylor ham truck. Then I'd be a little pissed off, like, wait a minute, I just helped you and now you're the Taylor ham truck. Well, I'm only in Hudson County, yeah. But I do, I mean that sincerely. I really believe in trying to help people get trucks off the ground. There's 2 to date that I've played a hand in, the Asbury Dog and now Kaz's Pierogies. But nobody would talk to me when I started, nobody. You know, the minute you ask questions, they don't want to talk to you. Because I guess they don't want you to know all their secrets or how their businesses really work. But you're small business people, you're trying to take a risk. I want you to succeed. Because I think if we all succeed, then it's better for everybody. I like competition.
I used to go to my resources up in Hudson County, up north, and talk to people and stuff like that, and they wouldn't really talk to me that much. They were like, don't waste your time, come back up here and work.
Yeah.
You're a good baker. And I used to say, what do you mean by that? And they're like, you're not gonna make it down there. They don't know what bread is. They don't know Italian food. No, this is 20 years ago though. This is 1997. They're like, they know fried shrimp in a basket. They don't know that stuff. And that was the North Jersey. Everybody used to buy things and bring them down here at the shore, buy from their bakery, buy their favorite mozzarella. My grandmother was one of those people who used to come down here in Point Pleasant and, but they would sit there and be like, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. And that drove me more because there was one guy that I really love and I wish he was still alive because I would hug him. He would give me little pieces of provolone to sell. I had no money. I had no working capital. I would drive and spend $20 to get a $40 piece of provolone that I would borrow for the next week to sell it, pieces of provolone, olive oil, stuff like that. And this guy really helped me out. He really was a great, great guy. His name was Morrow. He was a wonderful man. But, yeah, absolutely.
You gotta
Don't be
work hard.
intimidated when people don't want to talk to you because what happens is they're not confident in themselves.
Right, that's
So,
right. You're absolutely right. And I can't say enough what he said, the hard work aspect of it. I did. I worked all weekend, I think 43 hours. It's crazy. And then today, get up at 6:30, come down here to talk about food trucks. Then I'll be right back. I'll be back cleaning one of my trucks, getting ready to go back out again. It's, again, not to harp, I'm just a food truck guy. I don't have a restaurant or anything. I mean, I have a commissary and maybe a restaurant, but food trucks are a challenge. They're a wonderful little form of business with a low capital risk. If it does poof the bed, at least you can give Grandma and Uncle Ben some money back because you're going to have to sell the truck. Where if your restaurant goes bust, they put the padlock on, he sues you for the back rent. Some guy auctions off all your equipment you bought. I gotta have that salamander. Now the salamander's waiting for me and my food truck to buy for $100. Food trucks are a risk, but they're a manageable risk, and they're a good proof of concept incubator as well.
show?
No, everyone kind of covered all the bases that needed to be covered. Again, there are resources out there. We especially recommend SBDC. You know, find people who know that subject matter expertise. So if you're looking for, you know, some business plan, contact them, contact the center that we have here. But the other thing I kind of wanted to mention is one of the characteristics we look at is coachability. Are you coachable? And that is really, you have to look within yourself to figure out, all right, I don't know this area, or I may be successful in another type of venture, but when you're coming in asking in a different category that you don't have experience, be willing to listen, because you're coming to people for a listen. If you think you know how to run the show, you don't need anyone, do it yourself. So coachability is very important, willing to listen and take advice from people who are expert, people who have done it before. And that's key, and that's kind of talking to yourself, saying, am I willing to listen? If so, seek advice. If not, do it yourself.
Excellent. Okay, so now we're going to open up our Q&A. If someone has a question for our panel, please raise your hand. We'll be doing this for a little bit. Hold on, the mic is coming, coming. Yes, Cost. I heard it. Oh. Oh, so we'll start here. Closer. Speak, you gotta speak loudly because we don't have the mic on yet. Go ahead.
I've been a registered nurse for over 30 years, so I, had that experience. But I love I took the friends when they were sick, and then thinking, part-time, had to busy start, maybe full-time. But now, as a food truck owner, do you make your food in a commercial kitchen?
Of course. You have to. I mean, in the beginning, the luckiest thing for me, a friend that invested and believed in my idea had a restaurant. That's why I'm like, I love you. He had a restaurant. So we had a place, and he knew because he had been dealing with it. And I must confess, I'm very blessed because his other job, his main job besides that restaurant, he fixes commercial kitchens. So he's at Robert Wood Johnson or Trump now. So there's not an appliance on a truck or something. So I was lucky to have the engineering side of it with me. But that kit, you have to. A lot of guys do lie. I'll be honest. There's a lot of food trucks. Oh yeah, I pay some guy $20 and tell him I keep my food there. They should. They're supposed to, and they put the front up. But you gotta have a kitchen. No. That was one of the things he said. My partners, why don't we make our own? I'm like, why? It just didn't seem to make sense to me. When you hear all the scariness of trying to make anything, let alone a chopped up pork, I'll just say this about pork, it's extremely difficult to replicate. If it was, they would all taste the same. No offense to Cases and ShopRite and Foodtown and all the other ones out there. It's a very difficult thing to replicate. And so I never, but I do make coleslaw, I do marinate pineapple, There's certain elements, I pre-cook all my bacon, my peppers and onions, all that stuff before I go on my truck. So that's where that kitchen's a boon for me.
Next question.
I'm a small farmer, and I'm just wondering how farmers can work with restaurants or food trucks. Because my other farmer friends, talking to them, it seems like a very difficult relationship to make and then to keep. I don't have any experience working with restaurants or with chefs, but that's the experience that a lot of my friends who are also farmers.
Because I get duck eggs and goose eggs in the spring from a little farm in Manalapan, and that's kind of fun. We do a pork roll sandwich all high-end with Gruyere, a goose egg on a croissant. So, I have to act highbrow. That's how I got in Food and Wine, or, I'd just be a joke, Hudson County Taylor ham pork roll joke. But,
I would tell you the easiest way, and because of the restaurant we operate at school, we're always looking for different vendors. Pound Pavement, come see us. You may grow something that isn't available in our immediate area. You may produce something that's really unique. So my first recommendation would be to go to restaurant, offer your product. Show them how they can improve their business, how it can add something to the menu. We don't know, who you guys are. Farmers, vendors, meatball makers, you name it. So it's up to you to come to us, physically to us. And then I would tell you more, in addition to that, trade organizations. We work closely, along with Rutgers Master Gardeners, we work with an organization called Zone 7, which is basically a co-op. And one of the ways to get your product out is to have representation, and that would be a huge benefit to you. But Pound Pavement, we always love vendors coming in, showing us new products, stuff that's unique and interesting.
Do you know Zone 7? Have you heard that? Yeah, I figured you heard that term.
It's coming. Be patient, because a lot of farm and tables coming. It's getting big. There's a great place for a lead, get on the payment, up in Farmingdale, a place called Harvest. Really seasonal, good stuff. I always like that, you know, but I'm big into going out to the facility, seeing where the stuff's coming from, the cleanliness. I'm into seeing where it's born. So I would say be open-minded to having us as chefs or people coming out to you too after you do the initial pitch and going out and seeing where the stuff's coming from.
What about do you work the farmers markets? Have you tried to get into that? Like some of the,
Not yet, I have a small CSA, but we're looking to.
yeah, community sustainable agriculture? I know the acronym.
Okay,
I love that term,
Our mic
CSA.
is not working, so I just, Deborah, if you could stand up and.
Sure. So this is so typical that, because I work with restaurants every day, you guys all know me. Not one of you talked about marketing. And so many restaurants go into business with zero budget and zero knowledge of marketing. So maybe you could just touch on like how you market your restaurant, what works for you. And you know me, I'm a social media lover. Like that is such a great tool. Nobody mentioned it as a tool, but it's such an amazing tool for restaurants. I know the food trucks are all over social media.
I think you want to try and get in any
Photos.
cookbook you can.
Yeah, get in my cookbook. Yeah, that's really well. But truly, like we just did a photography and food styling class on Saturday, and my goal was to get restaurants to take advantage of this class because so many of the restaurants are putting out the worst food photography, and that like studies have shown like if they see a really bad picture of your food on Instagram,
Yeah.
they won't come to your restaurant. So it's an important thing, and especially if you're a one-man show, to have all of these skills. I know it's really hard, but I would love for you guys to touch on what works for you in marketing.
Well,
And what doesn't.
it's changed,
Well, hold on.
Yelp. Yelp doesn't work for anybody. Never use Yelp.
What was it? Okay, quickly.
I hate
We have a few questions. So, marketing, what do you recommend for, in the food service industry? Because it's not just restaurants, we have food
Well-
trucks, we have Whole Foods does their own thing. So, in terms of marketing,
If you take marketing into consideration, big budget, large budget, no budget, to me, it doesn't necessarily make a difference. If you're taking pictures, social media, Instagram, you're one of thousands and thousands of, I took a SCORE seminar and they used to tell you to update your Facebook 3 times a day. None of us on this panel have that kind of time. So the best way, So-
Tweet it now, got 80 likes.
so my recommendation to you would be the best marketing is done at home. What's going on in your dining room, what's going on at your counter, that's the best representation, word of mouth. It's not necessarily through social media.
Yeah, but word of mouth is it's exacerbated by this. This is word of, I get your point.
It certainly has a place, but Yelp, Instagram, all those places, the bad gets out much faster than the good. You could take as many beautiful pictures as you want, but someone who has the worst camera can take a similar picture and post it, but what they can't take away from you is good service.
It took me 18 years to actually get my head wrapped around it, like, I need a marketing person in-house.
Yep.
So we started with doing our own website design. We're actually currently looking for a food photographer, stylist. I'm always open for suggestions, but, we were so blessed that we did so well on word of mouth that it was amazing. But I gotta be honest with you, like, I could not stand Yelp.
Me either.
Yelp and all these other things, because they're messing with the livelihood of businesses. Like, I'm really old school. You got a bad piece of mozzarella? Come in and tell me. I'll help you, I'll fix it. Give me a chance to fix it.
But Joe, that's what they say, the way to do it is engage them online. It's funny
Well-
when that happens to you next, because I took that advice and it worked for me.
But
'Cause I
I'm
had
just
to-
saying, I mean, like, it just to say, if you're starting your business in this time, in 2017, it worked for me from like 1997 to 2015, but it is unbelievable the amount of things that get back to us via social media. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
But it's the way of the future. It really is. And I had to embrace that, because I was just like, no, everything's good. People with the name Joe Leone's, it's not. I can't rely just on the name. I got it, because you know what? No one talks to each other anymore. Everybody's on the phone. So why not put it on their phone in front of their eyes? Because no one's really saying, hey, I just had a good mozzarella sandwich. They're going to post it and say, hey, I had a good mozzarella sandwich, or I didn't have a good sandwich, or I didn't have a,
And there's gonna tag your.
Right, exactly.
That's why you need to have those.
Mark, you wanna chime in?
Well-
And then we'll go on to the next question.
Hello.
Talk about the retail side.
Yeah, no, marketing is crucial, and I don't think there is any one single way to do it. We fumbled our way through it over the past 20-plus years. But the way of the future is social media, like it or not, and Yelp, like it or not. It's there, and you have to change or adapt, because those are the people, that's how they're finding out about you if they don't already know about you. And when you do have a complaint, or if someone has something bad to say, you've got to deal with it head on.
Yeah.
And if it means hiring a marketing director, if it means hiring a social media person, if you have the time, great. That means, I don't know how anyone up here would have the time to deal with that, because it's 24/7 this. It's crucial. It's crucial in this day and age to do that. And I would suggest, it's great to do it from within. If you have a team member that's really slick and good at that, that's fantastic. But
We have a great one that's doing real well for us.
but you need someone that's dedicated to it all the time at this point.
That's her
And it's-
job.
Yeah.
40 to 50 hours a week, she's
Yeah.
in front of that computer, looking here and there, and she's always willing to learn more too.
It's past the point of having someone who's waiting tables for 8 hours a day and then going and doing it for a few minutes a week. You need it to, that's their job.
I was just going to point out on the retail side, there's sort of two ways you can go. There's the pounding pavement side, and there's the social media side. I think a lot of times people put all their eggs in the social media basket, and I think there's limits to how much social media can do, because there's such an inundation of social media that it's easy to click and move on to the next thing, and you've already clicked so many things, you might forget about what that one thing that interested you was. But like they say, I mean, you have to have a social media plan. It should almost be part of your business plan. But pounding pavement in our stores means going into the stores, doing demos, getting to know your customers, making sure that you're, again, listening to your customers and what they're telling you. And then also we have promotions. So you want to make sure that you have a good price point on your product, and how you promote that product is really important, because that's another way of getting customers to try the product. Because at the end of the day, you can have great social media and a zillion followers, but if they're not going in and buying your product, if they're not going into your restaurant, if they're not finding your food truck, it's for naught. I mean, they're engaging in food porn, and they're not taking the step of actually engaging. So
Well, it's all about marketing. It's not just about social media. For those of you that think, oh, I can jump on social media and that's what's going to get me in terms of marketing, you're incorrect. You have to understand how marketing works. You need to know who your market is. You need to know who you're having a conversation with. That's part of it. Traditional marketing is key. The whole 4 Ps of marketing. Make sure you know that you understand it before you decide, oh, I have to go into social media. And with social media, you better have a strategy. It doesn't come off of, this is the one thing I'm going to do, and it's going to be the end all, and it's going to work. It's all about integrating all your marketing abilities and making it work for your establishment. Joe, you wanted to add a comment?
Oh, yeah, I just want to, if you have the ability, I really think this is important. If you have the ability, right on there, and have a way you could moderate the conversations, because typically what happens is people go on a banter. They didn't like something, so they'll start a new Facebook thread or whatever it is. If there's a way, as an owner of that entity, that you could have some policy where you limit what gets on it, because once a negative post starts coming, it's a snowball effect. Everyone would dump on you. So basically, if you get an opportunity, put a clause in there that if they have specific comments for your product, they could contact you directly. But other than that, you have the right to edit what they post and don't post. That's really the only way to moderate. We could delete it at least, because if there's a certain specific questions, issue they have, talk to me directly. I don't want any negative posts on my site.
And there's also disgruntled customers
Yeah.
that use that platform. There's a lot of stuff that happens that people mask.
Right. It's a way of managing it, understanding it, how to use it to your benefit, and managing it. It is interaction, social interaction. It just doesn't happen face to face. So, question right here.
Hi, my name is Michelle. Thank you for coming out personally. I just want to say the health department, to listen to you guys when I first started my company 2 years ago, you gave me my first roadmap. If it wasn't for the health department rep who sat and took the time out to email me back and forth and tell me exactly what I needed, that was my first step. I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing. I was going and going.
Sure. And it's a tough question to answer from the local health department because it's not really our jurisdiction there. But you've made some inroads with the local health department. So, and you know, people talk, and our industry talks a little bit more than people think. Like, I know, I was at a seminar once, and the USDA guy for that program said he covers the Northeast to Wisconsin. One guy. This is like 27 states or something crazy like that. So, but we do talk to each other and use also your state ag people too. We actually communicate with them an awful lot. It helps that actually one of my neighbors and a good friend of mine is some kind of big muckety-muck with them too. When it comes to like product labeling, keep in mind that's not really our thing, but use us in the same way that you use us starting up. Use us as that voice, someone to include in the conversation, copy us on the email. I wouldn't copy your regular inspector because they're probably, that's going to fall kind of down low on their list, but if you copy me or something like that. I say this to a lot of people ask us questions related to the food industry that aren't necessarily us. That might be the state health department or USDA or FDA or something like that. Keep me in the conversation. What I can do when I can't directly answer your question is make sure that your question is getting an answer. We get a lot of this. We have this email link that people can click and it goes to all the department heads, and it's kind of really horrible. But they come in all the time. But I do actually try to take the time to answer each one thoughtfully, respectfully, and at the end of it, if it's one of those kind of blanket responses where I don't have that under my regulations, I say, if you don't get an answer, or if you are seeming to be in that government spin cycle where everybody points you in a different direction and no one ever answers your question, reach back out to me and keep me included in your email chain, because number one, I never want to stop learning, and there might be something that I can learn from your situation. I'm down, I'm in, and I'm gonna go right through the office. I'm gonna teach everybody else the same thing. And number two, it helps me to network with you and the other regulators and stuff like that. And you know, I think from that we can all learn something. We can all get you moving forward. It's not always fast. I know that. Government sometimes moves in what seems to be like glacial time, and some people do get that phone call where they say, well, that's not us, that's them, and then they say it's not us, it's them, and then they say it's not us, and then they point back at me. You know, I'm always going to be transparent with you, tell you what I do have, what I don't have on that, but keep me involved, because I'm kind of a pain in the neck and I can really agitate people in answering your question.
Joe, you want to add to it?
So USDA does offer USDA organic certification. They're probably one of the cheaper ones to do it with. Dr. Brandon, I believe is his name there. We could link you up with them. But if your question was, would it help your business? That goes back to the basic question of starting a business. Who is your customer? If they value it, then yes, it is. If they're not looking for that, and that's your target, if you're looking at a bullseye and a target, if that's not what their main reason they're buying it, because they're a substitute product for whatever you're making. It's a share of the stomach. So if it's valuable to them and that's your target audience, go for it. Just to give you a price range, to get a USDA organic certificate or any kind of organic, you're looking at a time frame, record keeping, your site has to be able to do it, the chemicals you use, everything of that sort. So it's not just the ingredients. It's $3,000 to $5,000 a year. Now for small companies who are starting out, you know, it may be later on down the line, and oftentimes people do that, but we have had clients who manufacture right from the get-go. It has to be organic, it has to be certified, because that's exactly who they're catering to. The reason people are buying it's because of, you know, GMO-free or, you know, gluten-free or whatever it is. So understanding your customers really will answer that question for you.
I guess my question is really, is there a large enough customer base that really understands what non-GMO and USDA certified? I know
Yes.
look for science, but not all of us really understand what is it.
What do you
Yes.
make? What is it you make? Or
They make coconut oil truffles. Like,
Oh, wow.
They don't use any machinery, it's all raw
Mhm.
organic. But again, and I put organic on my packaging.
Not if it's not certified.
Right, and the only trick around it is an ingredient statement. If people value that, you can list up to, I think, 5 organic. So you could say organic oats, organic sugar. So the inexpensive way to do it is people who value that kind of high-end product, they're typically reading the ingredient statements anyway. So you could include it in there and not get certified. But in a front panel, you cannot put organic or anything like that. That's going to be highly, you know, struck down because you're not.
Find that there is a large enough customer base of artisan products.
I mean, my simple answer is yes. I mean, organic and non-GMO are very strong attributes, and we see they drive sales. To his point, I would say you've got to be more specific about like who are you targeting, like what is it vegan? How are you connecting with those people? How are those people going to find that product in the store? Are they going to know where to look? Is it in the refrigerator? Is it in the chocolate section? Is it in the specialty section? You know, there's so many different variables that can influence that. But I can tell you that when you find that, if you're able to find that connection, that yes, there's a big market for that, you know, and price point's a big part of it too. How can you deliver something that's organic, either at a high price point and get people to understand that and not make it a hurdle, but you know, create an understanding, or how can you do it at a price point like in terms of weight, or you know, other inclusions that make it you know, that make that less of a hurdle. So there are a lot of different variables, but you know, I mean, again, my core answer.
I have found my place in the health system, and I have taken the time out to plenty of time to give my customers the knowledge they need to buy my product. I haven't known brand that I am expensive. But people have recommended, why don't you go to Whole Foods, why don't you go to the supermarket. My main issue with that, and I don't know if it benefits me, is that I feel my product will just get worse.
It happens. I mean, it's a lot of work. Like at the beginning, I said, getting onto the shelf is the first step. So many brands come to us and they get their product on the shelf. Okay, I'm done. It's on the shelf now. Everyone's going to get it, and it's just gonna start selling. And the work begins when it gets on the shelf, because now you have to build. You know, you're basically getting shelf placement. There's no slotting fee. So now now you have to figure out how to get that to turn, how to get the team members to understand what it is, so it doesn't get lost. Visiting that store constantly. A lot of people want to launch in all stores. If you launch in all stores, you are going to get lost. In most products that do all-store launches get lost. The products that tend to do better are the ones that build from the ground up, a grassroots approach, and you know, get to know their customers, get to know the team members in the stores. It's a process. It's a long process. It's not necessarily expensive, but it's a lot of time. So if you equate time with money, it's an expensive process. But you know, it's rewarding when you start seeing, you know, your velocity increasing and customers start recognizing you and your product and getting excited for it, and you start seeing the social media stuff build up. So you know, there are rewards other than the financial rewards, because that's tricky as well. But you know, it's an extensive process. So yeah.
Next question. Over here. Is it working? Oh, it's working? Well, keep going. We'll be right back. Next question then. We'll be here. Right here.
Tony, thanks for coming out today. My question's for John.
Yes.
With the food truck,
No.
you dispose all your greases and everything else, garbage. You
How
have
do
to
I
pay
get
a
rid of my
fee.
garbage?
Like, how do you get rid of it? You have to.
I don't really create that much grease. I don't have a deep fryer or anything like that. Yes, obviously cooking pork creates grease. I'm not selling it to a friend to run a school bus out to Burning Man or anything. But, you know, according to my health department, I'm allowed to bag that little bit of grease in my trap, put it in a garbage bag and throw it in a dumpster. I do not pay for a grease pickup service.
Like, whose dumpster?
Normally where I keep my trucks in Long Branch, that dumpster I use. But as long as I double bag it, I was told it was all right. And I'm telling you, dude, if I make this much, that's, you know what I mean, in my little grease trap, I don't really get a lot of
So
grease.
you need a facility that you keep your truck at. You can't like.
Yeah,
park
my
outside.
commissary, that's
You
where I
have a
keep my truck
commissary.
too in Long Branch.
Okay. all right.
It's hard, I swear to you, I said it before, you gotta have a lot of friends. One of my friends owns Food Town, Joe Azzolina. It's great, he
Yeah.
had all his property in Red Bank, I was in Red Bank, I still keep one truck back there. The Brighton Bar, my other, it's like, I've relied on so many different people to get this thing off the ground.
Now
It
you
would've been
park
great if I had 100,000, like, how much you want a month, Joe, to rent out some space? Got 500, cool, there's that. And everything was kind of put together, but it was back to the idea and the vision, and it kind of unfolded. It really did. It's weird in a way. that it's happened.
Next question. I just want to keep it moving for the sake of time.
For a just starting out business. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. For just starting out business, can anybody recommend a relatively intuitive management software?
POS, you mean?
That's
Like a
also-
point of sale? Is that what you mean?
Well, it might have point of sale integrated with it. It's more keeping track of records and
Inventory, SKUs, all that kind of stuff?
yeah, maybe something that's kind of aspects of the business. And
Value-added products.
we're doing value-added products, and it, you know, it needs to be reasonably priced also. I don't know if there's anything out there.
Clover, any of you guys use Clover? I have a few friends that use Clover that do like small coffee business, have different blends, different beans, and they use that as their point of sale and also as an inventory software. Yeah, Clover's not bad. It's kind of, it's one of those typical software plays. Like you get in, like, wow, this is great, and they give you the hardware, and then every little bit of information, $9.99, $9.99. Well, can I see the hourly rate? $9.99. It's like they have a bunch of add-ins. So it's, you know, you start with the base product, but I think Clover is not a bad way to go. I mean,
There's also websites that have some built-ins, like you can do check out like Squarespace and Leafly, and some of those have SKUs available, like if you're doing online selling and things. But I would say figure out all the functionality you want first, and then Google the top 3, and it will bring it to you.
What was this, the second one?
Weebly, which is a website you can build your own, W-E-E-L-Y.
Okay, next question. Back here, sorry. Go ahead.
Hi, I just have one comment and one question. My comment is for Joe. I wanted to just say that your everything that you had to say was very motivating, very inspiring. I believe that you're very successful probably because you have a very generous spirit. Your story about the paying the guy more than you made when you first started, that was a story of paying it forward, and you know, I think that's really the key to your success.
Thank you.
My question is for Matt. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the cottage industry and you know what you see what do you see coming with that?
Sure, and I'm sorry I had to run out. Small family emergency. Everybody's okay now. I didn't really think it qualified as an emergency, to be honest with you, but that's just between the 100 of us. There's a lot of pressure, I think, on the state to relax some things when it comes to the cottage industry. We need to be careful about that, only because, like I said, I think that it's a much harder thing. It's a lot easier for us to work with the pork roll truck at their commissary, these kinds of things. People who have been in the industry for some time and have staked something in the industry, they have a little bit more ownership of the process. And if you relax things too much, you kind of just have every John and Judy Q Public doing whatever they want. Keep in mind that what looks like it may become law, and again, it's not yet law, is cottage food industry. I think if you really read the bill, it gets into things like brittles, candies, some things here and there. But most of the items are not necessarily baked products or things with potentially hazardous food, milk, eggs, any other dairy, these kinds of things. But there is a lot of pressure on the state to kind of recognize and kind of loosen up on some people. And that's where, and I don't know how in the world we're going to enforce this, but putting a $50,000 cap on it is, I don't know how useful that is, because if I'm a slave to your reporting at that point. Advertising on the internet or selling over the internet is not allowed, but advertising on the internet would be allowed, and that's very difficult. Here's the thing so public health in New Jersey on this side of things is kind of like home rule, right? So the Ocean County Health Department is the local administrative authority. Basically, we are the Department of Health for our 27 municipalities. That doesn't mean that we don't get involved with Trenton. Trenton provides a lot of guidance to us through the state health department, but they allow for kind of a lot of flexibility at the local level. My recommendations, if you're interested in going into the cottage food industry, is to, if and when the bill passes, do read it. You're going to find out what your limits might be and that kind of thing. You don't really want us knocking on your door. Nobody would. I know that. Nobody would want us coming to investigate something. But keep in mind, if somebody reports to me that they got sick at one of these guys, or pick some diner out on Route 37 or something like that, we go in to investigate that. If we get that call about someone who's a home baker, we're going in to investigate that. It's kind of, you don't really want us there. You know what I mean? It's difficult to meet all the contamination and temperature controls in a residential kitchen. It's just, we know we probably make ourselves sick so many times a year. It happens. That's okay. The human body's amazingly resilient, actually. But I would say reach out to us. Whatever your idea is, here's the thing. If you reach out and you call me and you say, Matt, this is what I want to do. I'm going to do it from home. I might point out some pitfalls or stumbling blocks or some obstructions to you, but I'm only doing that so that, honestly, so that I can't speak for anyone else, but I don't want you to like fall into those pitfalls, but I want you to be okay with our office. But I'm not discouraging your business. I end every one of those emails with, I hope I answered your questions and good luck with your new venture. I sincerely mean that every single time I answer it. But I would say communicate with your locals with a specific idea, because if we talk too big picture, then I might miss something, a little nuance where I might be giving you bad guidance. Does that make sense? Does that help? Or did you have something more specific?
Yeah, no, I was just wondering in terms of the kitchen being inspected and the ServSafe
Okay.
recommendation or requirements.
Right. So under the proposed bill, cottage food, language does away with that for you. Again, you still have all those other restrictions and labeling and those kinds of things, but it would not require your kitchen to be inspected, period. Like I said, our only involvement with you would be in reaction to someone getting sick or report of foodborne illness or a complaint from someone. Believe me, people make complaints. We do about 2,500 a year. But you know what? I would tell you too, and we can sit and we can talk about it for however long it takes. Sometimes you'd be surprised what commissaries are out there, churches, fire departments, there's a lot of inspected kitchens that we go out to annually that you get to kind of like use their inspection as your inspection, though we would want to do your inspection at the commissary. That kind of carries a lot of weight, and there's actually a lot more out there than you actually think. Some of the churches that run food banks have us come in and take a look at things, because you don't want to be distributing food to the needy, trying to do a good thing and actually harming people.
Thank you. Now, for our attendees, you received the bag when you came in. Inside your bag, there's an evaluation form. If you could please take that out and complete the evaluation form while we do our wrap-up, that would be fantastic. Our team is out there, and they'll be more than happy to collect it from you. Yes. The evaluation form is there, it's letting us know how we did, what you think of this event. And in the meantime, our great panelists, I would like you all to, your final thoughts on it, what contributes to your success, what is it that you want them to take away from this event? So we'll start.
Oh, we got to start on my side?
Sorry, that was
All right, well, that's fair. I think, I hope that everybody really paid a lot of attention to what the entrepreneurs and the business folks here, food service and any kind of regulated industry in New Jersey, it really works best if there's a partnership between, this is my own viewpoint, between the regulated community and the regulators. It's not the old cat versus dog that it used to be. My vision for my department is, we're incorporating a lot of quality improvement. We're questioning a lot of what we used to do, why we do it. Sometimes there's a reason why we did it. Sometimes it's just kind of became policy. It doesn't work for the regulated community. I'm happy to say that we do have that home rule, and there's some flexibility on our end to get rid of some things. Should we be walking up on John's truck at 2 o'clock at Six Flags? They may sound like little things, but they do mean something to me. I think we're always looking for ways to improve what we do, but also become less of a hindrance in industry when we can. I think anytime that comes up as a topic, it's worthwhile. Use your local health department. We're almost like spies in the field. We've seen it done pretty much every different way, including chickens being butchered and their heads chopped off on a giant piece of a tree in the back of a kitchen. That was an interesting one. It took 7 men to roll that piece of tree back out of the restaurant. It was incredible. Well, Dan told me. We'll let you go with that one. But use us and use that relationship. I hope that you find our people to be, if you're in our jurisdiction, I hope you find that they are courteous and professional, but also that the big part of an inspector's job is to educate. I don't mean that in a condescending way. If an inspector's in your kitchen and they're telling you something, you have absolutely carte blanche to fire off all the questions that you need to, and I expect them to say, I don't know, if they don't know. I expect them to answer your question with respect and information that's valuable, or to even bring back issues that you raise. You say, I want you to tell Matt such and such. They better come back and tell me. I have cards up here, so don't anybody, feel bad about giving a call. I answer the phone. I answer emails all day long, every day. So that's pretty much it. I'd say good luck to everybody as you get started, and I hope that one day our paths will cross and you'll look back on this day and say it was a big day in your venture.
It's been said, I think, several times here, but just be prepared to work hard, harder than you've ever worked. But the reward is so much greater than you can possibly imagine too. Work hard, be passionate, and it'll pay off.
Well, first off, I would like to say that I'm very humbled to be here, that all of you would have interest in some of the things I would have to say. So thank you for that. I really believe that we live in the greatest country in the world, and that we have such great opportunity, and it really is right there in front of you, and sometimes, unfortunately, there are failures that happen due to all different types of circumstances. I mean, through the years, 20 years, I learned a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of things not to do and a lot of things to do. And every day, I open up my door at Joe Leone's like it's my first day. I always try to keep that fire in my belly to give the best product, to give the best service, to give the best, to be a good leader in the community, to try to give to others, to live selfless. Listen, I come from a father, and if my dad watches it on Facebook, I have such respect for my dad, and I remember in the beginning he was very scared, like when I was 21, he was like, you signed a lease, you're opening up a place, like what? You got money saved, and like and he just didn't see it, and I put it out, if I don't do it, I'm always going to regret not doing it. And that's, and I don't want to kick myself in the future. I was single, I wasn't married, I was 21 years old, and I said, what the heck, I'll do it. The worst thing that happens is I fall on my face. But at least you get a chance to do it, and you get a chance to go forward. Right now, my father is retired, and my dad comes to Joe Leone's 6-7 days a week, and he's always fixing something or helping me out. So he has been a very big supporter since the day that I opened, but he was very hesitant that his 21-year-old son was doing this. The other thing is absolutely educate yourself with the health department, of course. You'll learn, but I could say that you guys are very good at that. You bust chops and stuff when you have to, but you're good at that with resources. I'll say that, and I thank all of you. I've learned some things off of all of you, and my compliments to you guys. Thank you.
So I'll just be quick and just say, trust your vision and be ready to work hard. Pounding pavement, I think, is one of the best analogies I've heard. Also, listen to all those voices out there, and make sure you ask as many questions as you possibly can. And best of luck to you.
Like everybody, work hard, work really hard, keep working hard. I can't tell you the days I get in that truck, it won't start, it won't do this, and I'm like, why do I want to do this? But to their point, there is a sense of accomplishment, a great feeling one gets from doing it, and it's scary and it's risky. But have good friends, have good family, believe in yourself, and really the marketing thing, and nobody's really touching that. Define who you want to be. Don't make people struggle to figure out who you are. Really spend the energy, meditate, think about it. Take advice, but be your own captain. Clearly define what you do, and you'll be halfway home to success. Because food is emotional. It's a pleasure. We like eating. It's something we do. So he said, you're halfway home, you'll never go hungry, you'll always have a job. Hopefully it'll all work out for you. But just work hard and stay true to yourself, and hopefully it all pans out for you.
All right, as the rest of the panelists, the amazing panelists have said, listen to and look for all the advices that are out there, services that are out there, mentors that are out there. But most of all, jump in. Don't think too much. Sometimes you just gotta do it, like all these guys have succeeded in doing it. So you could do all the research in the world, but it's up to you at the end. Make a decision.
There's not much more I can add other than congratulate yourself. Take the time today to congratulate yourself for taking the initiative to follow your dreams. Outside of technology, I can't really imagine another industry where a person can just slap a sign on the door and be in business. We're passionate people. Take away this, I would definitely recommend a trade association. Whatever your business is, there's probably a trade association. They're immersed in whatever is going on in that industry. They're on the forefront of trends and how the industry should be run. So step one should be absolutely join a trade organization. Number two, get a mentor. Even not a business mentor, just someone you can bounce ideas off. It's really important to have people you can talk to, people who can give you feedback, and people who believe in you when there's times that you guys aren't going to believe in yourselves. But good luck to you.
Thank you. Before I thank the panel, I always have to thank my team. The ladies that you met on the outside, Francesca and Ernestine, my assistant director, Pasqualina. Without them, we could not put this together. I love my team. Joe Leone, I keep on putting it out there, and I believe in your philosophy. It's how you take care of your customers, whether they're internal or external. It makes a difference in whatever you do. And I know for a fact that without my team, we can never put these things together. So it's always a team effort. But to the panelists, we thank you. We're humbled by your presence and everything you do for our communities, especially in the food service industry. Thank you. And I kept you guys on time like this. Follow us on social media. We're going to share their information. So if you want to reach out to them, the panel has agreed that it's okay, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I'm a very hard guy to get in touch with, but you will hear back from me. Just go to our main page, joeleones.com, if you ever have anything, and leave your number. We have people that filter our website. They will get it to me, and we'll have a nice conversation on the phone, or come see me at the store. All right, but be patient with me. It takes like 3-4 days for me to get back to you. Okay? Thank you.
So we thank you. And have a great afternoon.
Is that Freeport?